Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the What If Guy, back with another fanfiction. This is the first part of What If Demi-human Issei got Harem. Now before starting, please give this video a like, and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Maybe I will be able to find peace here. A young man, appearing in his teens, was walking in the streets of Kuo searching for the prestigious academy implanted here. The teen in question was standing at 6 foot, wearing a yellow shirt with a black coat, black pants and sneakers. He has unruffled brown hair, yellow eyes and a pretty handsome face, and he is somehow lost. Hey D-Drag, no, how can I locate this academy? The young man said, visibly to himself since he was alone until. How should I know? I'm a dragon. A sudden sound echoed in his mind. It was a loud voice filled with power. Damn, D-Drag, fighting against Sun Wukong is actually more easy than searching this shitty school. Why don't you ask inhabitant of this town? Just when his dragon gave him this advice, he sensed some devils nearby. He followed their presence until he arrived at the school gate. Smirking, he said to the dragon residing in him, the so-called D-Drag. Well, following the devil's presence is also a way, huh? Idiot. Issei made his way inside the building facing him, and searched 5 minutes the principal office until he found it. Even the principal is a devil sigh. At least, in the territory of a devil, the Yaokai faction will not be able to move so easily. Knock knock. Please, enter. He pushed the door when he heard the female voice. He entered and was greeted by the sight of a woman with a voluptuous figure, violet eyes and chestnut-colored hair, big bust and generous curves. She is giving a noble aura. Issei blushed a little at the sight of the women and took a seat before introducing himself. Greeting, Mrs. Are you the principal of this school? Yes, indeed it's me, Veneranda Gremory, this school's principal, and you're. Yes, sorry for being rude. My name is Hayato Issei, a new enrolled student. I came to register myself and to recover my schedule when the boy said that. He picked some papers from his bag and handed it to his principal. She was checking his papers, then smiled. You came from Kyoto, eh? She asked. Why yes, I'm from Kyoto. I love Kyoto. It's my favorite place in all Japan, and the cooking there is absolutely divine, not to mention. She was speaking stars in the eyes about the so-called Kyoto. I wish I loved that place as you do, Devil Issei thought. It is Mrs. Gremory, you seem in love with that place. Yes, sorry, I have the bad habit of fantasying about it. She said it, visibly embarrassed from the remark of her new enrolled student. The latter just giggled and accepted the schedule from his principal, then stood up. Thank you for everything, Mrs. Gremory. I hope I will not cause too much trouble for you in the school. He bowed, then left. When he exited the school, he headed towards the address his principal gave me in order to collect his school uniform. In the road, he began talking to the dragon residing in him. I'm sure they will find about it sooner or later. It's not like that I didn't suppress his presence, but he still gives a presence of a non-awaked one. Well, at least I managed to escape from Yasaka and Sun Wukong line. I have to say that your mastery of senjutsu is frightful. Of course it is. I learned it from that old monkey when I was 4. It's such a loss to the Yaokai faction to lose you. I kind of savvy the urge they have to recuperate you. If they didn't estimate me as garbage because I'm a half-breed, or if they didn't call me an error, a joke, maybe I would have served them. But your childhood friend, that next leader of the faction, seemed to love you. It's her, the main reason I've become a stray. The only thing I miss is my mother. Don't you fear that she will be used as a hostage, a simple bait to lure you? When the dragon said that, Issei clenched his fists until they bled and said, They will not. I warned Yasaka before leaving. If she is harmed or killed or even touched, I promised her that I will turn Kyoto into dust even if I have to die doing it. And she knows pretty well that you're more than capable to do it. Let's not talk about it for now. I will pick my school uniform and go to the apartment I purchased. After Issei got his school uniform, he headed towards his apartment. It was situated in a swanky neighborhood. It was at one of the top levels of an elegant building. He took the elevator and stopped at the 34th level. He found his apartment at the end of the hallway. It consisted of 2 bedrooms, kitchen and bathroom plus a living room. A nice and neat apartment. There are only tasteful furniture. The view from the window overlay all Kuo. Issei putted down his bag on the couch of the living room, undressed himself and headed to the bathroom to take a shower. He exhibited his 9 tails and fox ears, and water began to flow. Who thought that all the missions I've done so far for them earned me so much? D-Drake spoke out loud. Used a weapon and treated like garbage, like I thought, leaving them is for the best. But choosing a school that contained only girls just a year ago is a good thing. You'll be able to find a suitable mate. What the hell are you talking about, D-Drake? Issei blushed a little at the remark given by D-Drake. I mean a girl who will clear all the stress you have accumulated. You're turning from a heavenly dragon to a perverted dragon. Maybe, but I maintain that finding a mate is a primordial thing. Sigh, I will order something to eat from the restaurant in the first level and go to sleep. I'm dead. Good luck in drying your fluffy tails, D-Drake said jokingly before he cut off the link. Idiot. After Issei dried his tails, it took half an hour, and at dinner, he fell against his bed before the realm of dreams reclaimed him. It is the first day of Issei's human school life. He wake up pretty early and took his breakfast at the first level of the building, where the restaurant is open 12/24 and every day. After all, the service was made to be without reproof. Issei exited the building and headed to school. He was dressed in the uniform of the academy he recovered yesterday. He took the liberty to open up his sleeve to reveal the red shirt he was wearing. Arriving at the school gate, he penetrated the school, but while he walks in, every student was looking at him, and he tried to ignore them. Don't attract attention, huh? Well, I guess it failed, Issei said to himself. Then the girls began to mutter loudly between them. Kaya, who is he? A new student? I hope he will be in my class. In the other hand, the males were sending him death glares. Issei ignored both sides and walked towards his classroom. Class 2B, there it is. Knock knock. The one who opened the door was a middle-aged man. Hair and eyes were brown in color. He was wearing glasses. It looked like his teacher. Ah, you're the new student. Ms. Gremory told me about you. Please come in. Issei nodded and followed his teacher. The students in class began to talk until they got silenced by their teacher. Calm down, class. Today we've a new student. When his teacher declared that, the silent classroom turned to a henhouse. Kaya was the student from this morning. He is so handsome, Kaya. Girls and boys did the same thing that greeted Issei this morning when he entered the school. He looked down and sighed. The teacher calmed his student and told Issei to introduce himself. My name is Hayato Issei, 17 years old. I came from Kyoto in order to study here. Looking forward to meet you all, he said it lazily and wrote his name in the blackboard behind him. Anyone who wants to ask Hayato-kun a question? The teacher asked. A girl raised her hand and said, why you came from Kyoto to Kyoto? Personal issue, he said briefly in a tone that clearly held his intention to not talk about it. Another did the same. The color of your eyes is natural. Yes, I was born with yellow eyes. A girl with pink hair asked, are you single, Hayato-kun? Yeah, I'm. When Issei responded like that, the girls began to giggle and the males keep muttering something alongside the lines of Dai shitty bishonen or damn you handsome. By the way, Issei felt a strong killing intent, especially from two guys who sat behind. One was wearing glasses while the other was bald-headed. When the question stopped, the teacher pointed at a free desk just next to a window and urged Issei to seat. After the morning class ended, the desk of Issei was surrounded by girls, asking him questions about him and his preferences until he managed to escape. He wandered around school and arrived at what seems to be an abandoned building. He sensed devils inside. Then a woman with crimson hair appeared in the window. Her hair was floating, her blue eyes were fascinating, and her bust size was enormous, but he knew she was one of the high-class devils in this school. At her side, the crimson-haired girl known as Rias Gremory was fascinated by him. She didn't know his identity but found something like an attraction towards him. It was troubling her at no end. She was facing her queen, Akino Himejima, and decided to ask her. Akino, who is this boy? Hayato Issei. He enrolled at this school today as a second year and he did pass the entrance exam online, scoring 96%. He intrigues me, even if his aura is the one of a typical human, but I can't help sensing something different about him. Maybe he has a sacred gear. Aura. Catching your interest isn't that easy. Why don't you show him the town this weekend? You will know him better and help him a lot at the same occasion. It's a good idea, Akino. I will tell him right now, Ria said, before leaving the clubroom and descended to meet Issei Hayato, her new kuai. In the other hand, Issei knew she was coming, making him raise an eyebrow in interest. Why, I didn't rest in my class, damn. He stood there waiting for the devil to come. The door suddenly opened, revealing the crimson-haired girl. She ran towards his direction. Said Diedrag lecherously. A heavenly dragon interested in the breasts of such a lowlife? Really awkward. Hello. My name is Rias Gremory, third year in this school. Here we go, Sai. Nice to meet you, senpai. I'm Hayato Issei. I'm a second year here. Issei introduced himself in a respectful manner, bowing slightly his head at the end. You can call me without honor if you know. No, this is important, Ria senpai, but feel free to call me by my given name. Issei kept his fake smile, but inside. Call you without honorifics, then what? Joining your peerage. TCH. All right, then you are new here. It's the first time I see you here, Issei-kun, Rias Gremory said, visibly shy. Yes, that's correct, it's my first day here. Do you want to come this weekend with me? I can show you the surroundings. When Ria said that blindnessly, it took Issei back, who was really surprised at how devils act fast. The little miss sure is straightforward, he thought. Thank you for your kindness, senpai, I will gladly accept. Huh, you accept? Oh, so you wanted. Before Diedrag could make any lecherous comment about the situation, Issei suddenly interrupted him. Don't get me wrong, Diedrag, it's just that I really don't know much about this town. Ria smiled and said, it's nothing, Issei-kun, we will see each other Saturday at the school gate at 9. Yeah, sure, now I have to go, lunchtime is practically over. Issei waved at his senpai. The latter did the same, then headed towards her clubroom, satisfied and looking forward to Saturday. After his encounter with one of the two young high-class devils, Issei continued his afternoon class. He seemed so bored that he felt suddenly asleep. When he woke up, he found himself alone in his classroom. Sleeping in the first day, I didn't expect that, he thought. Issei rushed home. Night already caught him. When he arrived, he took a shower and ordered his dinner at the first floor's restaurant before sleeping. A brown-haired little boy with a blonde little girl. Both of them had yellow eyes and were playing in a garden. Behind them, in a Japanese traditional house, in the veranda, two women, who are practically identical except their hair. One was brown and one was blonde. You can assume that they're the mothers of the two children, the latter one still playing. Kanawu, you're too slow. Pant, it's you the one who is too fast. The boy approached thin girl and patted her hair, causing her to blush before saying, we played a lot today. I have to go. The girl, visibly saddened at the departure of her friend, said, why, you will come back tomorrow? Of course I will, Kanu. Pinky promise. Aha, pinky promise. Their pinkies interweaved, making both smile. The scene distorted and revealed the two friends, years later, in a class. Kanu was at the first table in the middle rank, Issei was at the last table of the same rank, then the bell rang. The students, or I should say the yakai students, exited the class. In the courtyard everyone revealed his yakai form, dogs and cats mostly, but there were few foxes. One was Kanu and the other Issei. The former was encircled by friends but the latter was alone. Kanu was looking at her childhood friend, sadness in her eyes, but he was looking at the sky while seating in the swing, until a group of males surrounded him. "Hey half-breed, you're still here." One of them said that, before another came to taunt Issei too. If it wasn't his mother who was the personal bodyguard of Yasaka-sama. One of them punched him and made him fall from his seat. He stood up like nothing happened and was brought down by another punch, then a kick. Everyone was laughing, but Kanu tried to protect him until she saw Issei stood up again. His clothes were dusty and he had some bruises. He sat again in his seat, ignoring completely the ones who assaulted him. He remained calm, but it irritated heavily his fellow comrades. "Hey weakling, why are you so calm? You didn't have enough. If it wasn't your mother, he would never been enrolled in this school." Labeled as the strongest female yakai, TCH. To have a human mate, it's so embarrassing. "Your mother is a bitch." Crack. Something in Issei's broke at that instant. The 12 or 13-year-old boy felt something broke. Was it his patience? A red kai covered the young Issei. His yellow eyes were showing only one emotion, hate. "You digged your grave, bastards," Issei muttered, but they didn't hurt it. The males who surrounded him were covering themselves in their tauki. It was blue. But the one Issei has is red. His fellow comrades were curious why his tauki was red but ignored it for now. "Huh, even your tauki is red, you filthy half-breed. Wanna fight, you low life?" Issei's tauki was way more thicker and dense than the others. He looked towards his comrades. His eyes were glowing. Green. From yellow to green, his eyes turned to one of a predator. His comrades began to shake but didn't lose their battle stance. The males launched their attacks towards him, fire or magical attacks, mixed with senjutsu perhaps. Issei only exposed tauki was able to crush their attack, leaving his body unscratched. He looked towards them. He gave only one punch in the air. The 6 students knocked them on the wall before they fell on their knees coughing blood. The shockwave created by the punch was able to heavily injure all the ones who assaulted him. "Do you think you can insult my mother? No one is able to harm me, even if I'm a half-breed. The strong is strong and the weak is weak." His voice cold, emotionless, and filled with power, enough to make the males peeing their yukata. "You monster, if you touch me I will." He was interrupted by Issei grabbing him from the throat and lifting him effortlessly. He looked at the yakai in question and said, "Monster, from half-breed to monster, do you really wish to die?" The male was uncontrollably shaking. The females were too stunned to do anything. Even Kanu was afraid of him. "You think I can't touch you because you're the next head of the principal branch of your race? Dog, I can exterminate every member of your household if I wanted. Who gave you the right to talk ill of my mother? I guess I will not be in the wrong killing you right now and right here. What do you think?" Noticing that the yakai he held already lost consciousness, he calmed down his aura. His eyes returned yellow and let go his prey. Kanu approached him, but the teacher stopped her and said loud enough to be heard by Issei, "Kanu-sama, don't approach him. No, he's my friend. You're the princess of Kyoto, don't approach him. He isn't worth of your regard." Kanu looked down, visibly agreeing with her teacher. That sight made a cut in Issei's heart. End of the dream. Issei opened suddenly his eyes. He woke up and placed a hand in his forehead. Seating at the edge of the bed, he muttered, "A monster, huh?" He walked to the bathroom and took a quick shower. He prepared some coffee inside the kitchen, and kept staring at the horizon from his window. He took a sip from his coffee. The sun was rising, the sky was still black, but the skyline was orange. The view calmed Issei. "What is my goal now? I lost everything," he said. He was looking at the sky, one of his habits, but his gaze is aimless. He was feeling like an empty shell. "I wanted to be happy and have friends, to be accepted. Finally I wanted power, but in the end I'm alone." Sigh. Maybe it's not that bad to be alone. At least I can enjoy my current peace. Things escalated quickly, I'd say. "You wake up." "Morning, D-Drag," Issei greeted his dragon, or his old friend as he would say. "Morning, partner. You are awake pretty early today." "Nightmare, or I should say memories," Issei sighed tiredly. "More easy to say." Issei kept silent as he contemplated the sky. His coffee already turned cold. Later that day, a fallen angel made a move on Issei. Her name was Amano Yuma. When he crossed the bridge to return home, a girl approached him. She was wearing the Kyo Academy uniform and had purple eyes followed with black hair. "Why your H Hayadoi Issei? I'm Yuma, Amano, class 2 degrees Celsius. Please go out with me." She was acting, of course. Her troubled voice and her blush were nothing but fake. It didn't slip to the nine-tailed fox. "Okay, so let's recap the situation. An Akoshu devil is spying me, and I have a date with her master for the weekend while a low-class fallen angel is trying to go out with me in order to kill me. Why are you always in such complicated situations?" "Amano-san, I'm sorry, but I have an appointment with a girl for this weekend since she wanted to show me off the city, so I'm sorry." Issei said it with a smile, but he was repressing himself from laughing, certainly knowing that the fallen is pissed. "Yeah, it's all right, maybe next time," she said, anger visible in her face. When they separated, the Nekomata who was following Issei didn't hear their conversation. "I will tell Butchu about his encounter with a fallen. After Issei returned home and did his shower then dinner, he sat on his couch watching TV and was looking forward how he will move from now, since he attracted already the supernatural beings one after one. D-Dreg said, "Yeah, you're right. That aside, I didn't know that a Nekomata is with BGMI Issei. It's not about battling each other. I don't know why such a rare species of Yukai reincarnated as a devil, and she could have lived like a little princess in Kyoto. Bah, it's not your business, partner. Agree, but it's still suspicious. So what about the devils? Will you make an alliance with them if your relation with the supernatural is revealed? Honestly, I still don't know what to do, but let's not worry about it, Form. There's nothing I can't handle here." As the discussion between D-Dreg and Issei ended, the former certainly already fallen asleep and the latter kept staring at the ceiling thinking about what he will do from now on. A certain white-haired girl was rushing towards Kyo Academy. Night already caught her before she penetrated inside the old school building. Arriving at an elegant wooden door, she knocked 2 times before she opened it, and what greeted her sight was a crimson-haired girl seating on his usual chair behind her bureau. It was Ria's BGMI, one of the 2 high-class devils officially present on this town. Beside her was a girl with piercing violet eyes. Her hair was tied in a ponytail thanks to an orange ribbon. Her body was flawless, perfect, and accompanied with generous curves. She is Akino Hanjima, one of the school 2 great ladies and the piece of Ria's BGMI. On the expensive-looking couch was seating a handsome blonde guy with blue eyes. He was sipping his cup of tea in an elegant manner. He could even be bewildered with a prince. Well, it wasn't that far since he's the famous Kyo Prince Kibayudo. Ria says, "You came back already, Kaneko? Something happened?" Ria asked with a raised eyebrow while checking some papers on her office. "I came to report that a fallen angel who was dressed in the Kyo uniform approached him." Kaneko Taoju, Ria's answered with her usual monotone voice, but her face shows the worry she's feeling towards Hayao Issei. The 3 other devils stopped what they were currently doing and looked towards the white-haired loli with slightly widened eyes. "That's not good." So they too felt that, he's really a sacred gear possessor. Ria's BGMI said that, seeming really worried about the boy, but on the other hand eagerness clearly visible in her light blue eyes. "Even so, it's woeful that our school uniform is so easy to get," Kiba muttered under his breath, getting a nod from his before Akino spoke. "So but what we're going to do now that the Fallens are on his track?" The crimson-haired in question kept silent for endless seconds before she heavily sighed. "I don't want to cause tensions between us and the Fallens and take a risk of causing a new war or deteriorate our unstable relation furthermore. So, you will just let him be killed before you reincarnate him into our comrade," Akino said. A little anger can be perceived in her voice. "On our rendezvous for Set, I will hand over secretly a flyer for him. If he want to live, he will summon me and I will do what I have to do." "I'm sorry, Akino, but this is the only and the safest way to deal with this situation." Ria's declared, honestly sorry about her choice and pinpointing that was the only way she could submit. "I know you can't just tell him about our existence and all," but Akino tried to debate against Ria's, but she was suddenly interrupted by her. "Akino, I can't do anything more and you know it, and please Kaneko and Kiba follow him until he arrives to his house for this next 3 days. There's a risk that the Fallens tend him in ambush before I make contact with him and pass the flyer." Both of them nodded, before Kaneko took a seat on the couch and began to eat the snacks present on the table. Akino, who had a troubled expression, suddenly made a face as she remembered something and said, "Oh, but I didn't told you." Venalina-sama returned to the underworld to prepare the last adjustments before the official venue with the Phoenix household. Suddenly Ria's expression turned into a depressed one and remained silent, worrying even more her peerage members. Issei's apartment. It was morning. A loud yawn was heard in a certain apartment. A 9-tailed brown-haired teen opened his yellow-colored eyes slowly. He was dressed in a dark yukata. Well, it was his usual pajamas. After rubbing his eyes tiredly, Issei Hayao to wake up and took a shower and his coffee before he exited the building. On his way to school he began to think about various things, but what really perturbed him was the fallen angels present on town. "You don't get it, D-Dreg. I never heard of fallen who kills humans only because there's a chance that they have a sacred gear. You will not get any answers like this. Just wait until they make a move on you. That girl from yesterday will certainly try to get rid of you. When the time comes, just interrogate her." "Yeah, you're probably right." A sudden voice was heard behind Issei that brought him down on reality. He turned his head back and saw a blonde-haired girl, her face on the ground and her arms wide open. "Hey, are you all right?" Issei approached her and gave her his hand that she gladly took in order to stand up. "I'm sorry, thank you very much." When she stood up, what greeted the sight of Issei were 2 large warm green eyes. Issei's heart skipped a bit at the look of the beautiful girl in front of him. Is there something wrong?" This sentence brought Issei's consciousness back before he picked up her veil from the ground and handed it to her. After a second of examination he understood that she was a sister and a foreigner, judging by her appearance and the traveling bag she is carrying. "I'm sorry, here, your veil." He handed it to her while smiling. Thank you very much." She thanked him shyly. "It sure is a rare occasion to see a nun in town, your traveling sister," asked Issei, pointing at the bag she was carrying on her back. And no, I was sent to this town's church and since I don't speak Japanese that well, I got lost," the girl answered shyly while looking down at her feet. "D-Dreg, I know that it's not love, but why I'm feeling so attracted to her. She has a strong dragon affinity, I felt it too." And since she resembles you a bit, in term of cluelessness, when D-Drag began to tease Issei, he immediately interrupted his conversation with him and turned his attention towards the nun. I'm sorry, I don't know where the church is, but let's search it together. I will ask for the directions since you don't know that much of Japanese. When Issei said that, the face of the nun brightened instantly. Le ringrazio molto, signor. Issei giggled a bit at the attitude of the sister. Of course he understood what she meant. Supernatural beings can understand and speak several languages, it's just that hide it and tried to act as a Japanese to not attract too much attention or appearing dubious was the best choice for him. After all, a Japanese high schooler speaking Italian, hey, isn't that too odd? By the way, my name is Issei Hayadu. Issei is fine. The kitsune introduced himself with a slight bow. I'm Asia Argento. Nice to meet you, Issei-san. Asia done the same and bowed too. Likewise, let's search about the location of the church, shall we? Issei proposed to her. Getting a nod, the couple began to walk. After that, Issei and Asia spent a considerable amount of time asking their way to the church until they reached it, but what Issei sensed worried him at no end. All the fallen angels present on this town are in this abandoned church. Thank you very much, Issei-san. Do you want to come and have tea with me? I'd love to, but I'm already very late to school. Maybe next time, Asia. Issei apologized, with a fake smile in order to hide his worried state. Oh, okay, Issei-san, I hope to see you again, she said, blushing a little. I'm sure we will, Asia. That only sentence made the girl smile warmly and waved her hand to Issei, who already turned his back and headed to school. Inside the abandoned church, middle-aged looking man with short black hair and dark blue eyes. His attire consisted of a pale violet trench coat over a white dress shirt with a matching ascot, black pants and shoes, and a black fedora. Beside him, an attractive woman with violet eyes. She has an attractive body and black hair down to her hips. You can say that's the mature version of Amano Yuma, and she's dressed in a BDSM attire. Rainer, the boy that accompanied the wasn't the one you were supposed to kill. The man spoke. The woman named Rainer turned his head and said, "It will not look good if we kill him in public, and since he refused me, I'm planning to kill him on his date with the other girl he mentioned." A human brat turned you down? That's pathetic. The man laughed loudly. Shut up, don't seek. I will get rid of him on his date, then modify the memories of the girl he will be with. I will make sure that it's going to be his last date. Maybe if I was the one who proposed him, he would have accepted. Tall and buxom woman with long, navy blue hair that obscured her right eye and brown eyes said that. Calla Warner Nietzsche, and I found him quite cute, but his yellow eyes are bizzard. A girl with blonde hair styled into twintails and blue eyes wearing a gothic Lolita attire said that. Calla Warner, Metlet, if he refused me, you really think that he will give a glance towards both of you? Rainer said playfully, making Calla Warner eye twitched in annoyance. Sure, after all, you're the less attractive between us, she answered, a huge grin visible on his face. And then an argument began between them. Issei reached the school gate just in the middle of lunchtime, only to be intercepted by two girls wearing glasses. One had a long straight black hair that extends all the way to her knees with split bangs and heterochromic eyes, with a violet left eye and a brown right eye. Her blue glasses were semi-rimmed ones with square lenses. The girl beside her was a girl in her late teens with a slim figure, black hair styled in a short bob cut and violet eyes matching the color of her glasses. Issei already knew that the latter was the second high-class devil on this town, Sona Citri, but didn't know the identity of the one beside her well. He knew she was a devil, but which piece? It was the question that made him raise an eyebrow. You, stop right there. Just when Issei was passing the school gate, Sona stopped him. In doing so, Issei looked to his right and found that the two girls already reached him. Is there something wrong? The boy innocently asked. You skipped school this morning and now you return like nothing happened. Do you have a justification about this absence? The girl beside Sona asked, interrupting him. Why, yeah, I met a foreigner this morning. Your name is? Sona asked, interrupting him again. Hayadu Issei, he answered stiffly. I'm Sana Shitori, 3rd year and the student council president. Here is. When she pointed her finger towards the girl beside her. I'm Tsubaki Shinra, 3rd year and the student council vice president. The other girl presented herself. I was enrolled like 2 days ago. So can you cut me some slack? I mean, I know I'm really late, but this morning when Issei tried to defend himself, he received a death glare from both of the girls that scared him a little. This afternoon, you will come to the student council room to receive your punishment. It's the room at the left in the 1st floor of the new school building. When Sona said that, she and Tsubaki turned their back and walked towards the building. Issei just stared at their sight, sweat dripping of his head. Those devils really love their work, sigh. Well, at least you helped the girl. Cheer up, you will just rest stuck in a room for 2 hours, nothing dramatic. You really are bad in motivating others, It's not a heavenly dragon job. Sigh. Then Issei walked to his class after he bought something at the cafeteria on the way since he didn't have lunch. When the afternoon period ended, he walked to the student council room and found a ton of papers placed on a desk, and a Tsubaki Shinra near them looking like she was waiting for him. Hi Fuku Kaichu, SOMY punishment is? Issei asked in a troubled voice. Tsubaki on the other hand looked straight at him and said, You will have to complete all this paperwork. I will check it when you finish. She took a seat on the couch after saying that, and picked a book from nowhere and began reading it. Issei began to quickly fill all the papers, and it was mainly demands of clubs about revaluation of their finance. An hour quietly passed. Tsubaki was still reading her book and Issei was receiving his boring punishment. He sighed at least 10 times in a single hour. He took a glance towards Tsubaki. His yellow eyes met his heterochromic ones and said in order to break the silence, "So, Fuku Kaichu, it's you and Kaichu that do this work usually." The girl in question continued to read her book while she answered, "Yes, the demands of the several clubs that this academy has are treated by our student council." "You sure have it hard." "Well, I finished Fuku Kaichu already?" she asked, suddenly lifting her eyes from her book. Issei just nodded with a small smile. She stood up and came to his desk, checking the papers at an incredible pace. She widened her eyes slightly and said in amazement, "It's really quick. It's your first time doing this sort of work?" "Yeah, well, it's not that hard, Fuku Kaichu. Can I leave now?" The vice president just nodded her head slowly. Issei left the room and headed to his house. While Issei exited the school's building and walked to the school gate, he sensed 2 devils observing him. He just ignored them and walked home. They followed him until he reached his apartment. After he arrived, he tossed his school bag on the couch and fell face first on his bed. Sighed it was a rough day. Issei suddenly felt sleepy and then closed his eyes before the realm of dream reclaimed him. A 4 or 5-year-old version of Issei was seating beside a beautiful woman with blonde hair and yellow eyes. She gave off a noble aura and wore a gentle smile. Both of them were doing some Japanese calligraphy, shoto, in other words, it's artistic writing. "Yasaka-sama, when Ake-sama will arrive," said Issei while opening up his bokuju. "It seems she will not be back today, maybe tomorrow." When the beautiful woman, Yasaka, said that, Issei's young face showed both anxiety and worry. Even the characters he already wrote in his paper placed on the desk were not clear due to his current state. "Don't worry, eyes, your mom will be all right. She is very strong, you know." She patted the young boy's head when she said that. But the boy didn't even look at her and keep looking down and muttered to himself but didn't sleep to the sharp audition of Yasaka. Why is it always her that goes fighting against the bad guys? Because it's her duty and her choice. She protects those who she holds dear. She's fighting for both me and everyone in Kyoto, and more especially for you. When she said that with a warm smile, young Issei looked at her for a second and thought, "She always returns late and tired because ... of me. Why, Yasaka-sama? See, can you train me that I can help Aka-sama?" The sudden declaration of a 4-year-old brat caught off guard the Kyuibai, but when she saw his eyes, his big yellow eyes, they were filled with resolution, but she knew that she couldn't do that, not to a young boy. "Eyes, you are a little too young for that, and there's not a need for it now. Maybe when you'll grow up a little." This answer didn't satisfy Issei, who was feeling bad that he couldn't do anything about the harsh life his mother was living. Then, thud, the door of the traditional Japanese room opened, revealing a brown-haired female with yellow eyes. With the same body type than Yasaka, her bust size was just a little bigger. She was a little dusty and her Miko attire was tattered a little. She was lightly injured. Issei left his work and rushed towards the woman and hugged her. "Ake-sama, you're late." That woman was Issei's mother. She hugged her son back and smiled gently before she said, "Sorry, Issei, but I'm here now." Issei retracted his head from her hug. "Ake-sama, do you mind training me?" Issei's mother suddenly began to laugh a little and asked, visibly amused by the situation, "Oh my, why are you saying that?" "To be able to spend more time with you and be able to help Aka-sama, of course." Issei's mother looked at him with widened eyes for a fraction of seconds before she looked at Yasaka, who just shrugged her shoulders, not knowing she's supposed to do. She taught a little. Maybe letting his son learn a little of senjutsu at this age may not be that bad. "Yasaka, do you think that old monkey will accept training?" "Eyes. You mean Wukong-sama?" "I don't know, and why do you want him to train so early?" "He's too young." Nah, I think it's okay for him to know a little bit of senjutsu at this age." "You're crazy. He is only 4. "Yasaka, I know, but look, I'm his mother and I know what's best for him. His body will not be damaged just by learning 2 or 3 things. That's reckless." When the females were arguing, Issei was just staring at them until someone opened the door again. Thud. It was a small girl with blonde hair and yellow eyes. A mini version of Yasaka is the more appropriate term. She was hugging a pillow. "And then it's late. Hey Eyes, come, let's sleep together." When the girl said that and began to drag Eyes to the bed with her, Yasaka and Eyes' mother stopped their argument and giggled a bit while the poor boy couldn't do anything. Issei opened his eyes slowly and looked at the clock near him hanging on the wall and found that he slept 2 hours. He wake up still in his school uniform. He stood up and put his black yukata after he got undressed, then moved to the first floor to eat his dinner. After coming back into his apartments, he laid himself on the bed and looked at the ceiling, wondering about the current situation of his new acquaintance, Asia Argento. Is she excommunicated from the church? No, that's impossible. Maybe a member of Grigori. Is she pretending to be someone else? Issei closed his eyes and abandoned himself to sleep. In the morning, Issei headed to school after taking his usual coffee. He crossed the school gate before he heard cries coming from his right. The 2 guys that Issei noticed the first day were coming towards him. He remembered them because the killing intent they emitted towards him was strong, enough to make the Sekyurite shiver. Issei didn't know what to do and decided to adopt a battle stance. He threw his school bag at the side and waited them to arrive. Then he noticed that a group of girls were following them. Well, chasing them will be the exact term, well, whatever. Issei didn't really pay attention and bam bam. He punched the two boys exactly when they were at his range. Both of them were thrown backwards and fell unconscious. Then the girls arrived. "It's you, the transferred student." A brown-haired girl approached him from the group of girls and said that, "Thank you for your help, Hayato-kun." A pink-haired one appeared from behind her and thanked him. Issei remembered that those two are in his class, well, the two guys too, but, "Can I ask you a question? What those two did? I mean, why you were chasing them?" The group of girls suddenly blushed, making Issei regret his action. "Why, you don't have tea to answer, and he was interrupted when the brown-haired girl said with an overwhelming anger and a deep blush, "Those two pervs were peeping when we were changing. Disputing perverted duo. Good for you that Hayato-kun already knocked you out. If it was me, you were already dead. Die perverts." Then all the girls began to curse the two unconscious boys. Issei felt very sorry for them at that instant. Then he picked up his school bag and said to the group of girls, "I'm sorry for what they did, but try to hold back a little next time or they will not make it until the end of the year." The girls just giggled and nodded before everyone returned to their respective classes, and Issei was kind enough to bring the two at the infirmary. But what Issei didn't notice is that there was a certain white-haired Nekomata observed the entire scene while she was hidden behind a tree. His technique in hand-to-hand combat. The two punches he gave, he isn't normal. Kaneko Taoju was muttering that under her breath, as an expert in close-range fighting, she was bluffed. She definitively knew that there's something odd about him and decided to report to her. When lunchtime arrived, Kaneko headed to the old school building and found that her and are already there. "But you, this morning the transferred student fought against the perverted duo." Memories nodded while eating her bento. "Ara, I wanted to see it." Akino beside her also was eating. This hand-to-hand combat technique isn't normal. When Kaneko said that with a stoic expression, both of the one-sama stopped eating and turned their heads in the direction of their cute kuai. "Huh," Rias only managed to say that. Kaneko sat on the couch and began to eat snacks like nothing happened. "Kaneko, can you repeat what you said?" Hayato Issei isn't normal. His technique in close-range combat is too perfect. The punches he gave were aimed not to injure the perverted duo, they were too accurate, not even mentioning how quick he was. Kaneko detailed a little the scene she witnessed this morning. Akino was looking worriedly at her king, since the latter had a date with him or an appointment would be more exact tomorrow. "But you, I think that tomorrow it would be wise that we follow you," her advised. In the other hand, Rias wore a thoughtful look, because, when her own an expert in the domain say that a human may even exceed her, get something to worry about, Rias only nodded and said, "I think it's better. Look, Akino, you will accompany me tomorrow. I'm sure he will not complain if you join. Bring 2 flyers with you. If something happens, we will summon you, Udo and Kaneko." "Yufufu, I will go on a date tomorrow." When she said that joyfully, Rias made a small smile and said, "You weren't worried about me, were you?" "I was, but I wanted to go on a date too." The straight, honest answer of Akino made Rias lost her composure for an instant before she coughed and said, "Whatever, I don't think something will happen with him tomorrow." Like that, the afternoon period continued without any further accidents than the one of this morning with Matsuda and Madohama. Well, expect this afternoon they tried to get revenge and attack Issei, but they were stopped and chased again by the Kendo Club. By the way, Issei made Kades and Murayama his friends. They are respectively captain and vice-captain of the Kendo Club. Issei sensed that today, too, he was followed, the same presence, the same devils. They followed him non-stop for 2 days when he returns to his place after school. Maybe they got worried about me. After all, that Nekomata certainly reported my interaction with the fallen. A sudden voice was heard by Issei on his mind. Like that, another day finished. Issei's life is more or less peaceful if it weren't those fallens that intrigues him. Well, right now there's something more important than that. The rendezvous with Rias Gremory for tomorrow. After Issei entered his place, he sat on the couch and switched on the TV because he has nothing to do until tomorrow. "Hey Dreg. Yeah, do you miss Kyoto? Peace is pretty boring. Well, it's not like I prefer war or something, but it's really boring. Sorry that I got not to use your power more often now. Well, the curse to be your host, I guess." Dreg just laughed quietly while his partner was grinning. The day after, Sere, Issei wake up at 7 and dressed himself. He was in black pants and sneakers accompanied with a gray shirt. He didn't make any effort on his dressing even if he has the chance to date the most popular girl of his school. "Hey, it's not a date. I spoke to her once, so shut up a little, Dreg. And there we go again. I said to stop about your boobs-related things. You don't like breasts. Well, if I remember, you love the ones of the Kyubai's daughter, Kanu, was it?" When Dreg said that, Issei's cheeks began to redden. "Dreg, I was right, huh? Well, enjoy your time today, partner. It's not always you go on a date." "Okay, I'm off." Issei left his apartment and headed to the school gate. He arrived at 8:45. Well, it was common sense that the girls love to keep guys waiting but themselves don't like to wait. 10 minutes later, Issei, who was leaning against a wall, sensed 2 presences approaching. Wait, 2. He thought, until 2 persons appeared in the horizon. It was Rias Gremory, easy to recognize thanks to her crimson hair, but the other was young woman with a buxom figure around the same age as Rias with very long black hair and violet eyes. Her hair is tied in a long ponytail, reaching all the way down to her legs with 2 strands sticking out from the top and sloping backwards, with an orange ribbon keeping it in place. Issei didn't know who she was. Then, the girls arrived at his head. Looking closely, Rias was dressed in a white pants accompanied with a red shirt squared black. The other girl unknown to Issei was dressed in dark blue pants with a purple shirt. Morning, Issei-kun, I hope you didn't wait too long, Rias greeted Issei. Nah, I've just arrived, but it was supposed to be only you who'll show me around. Well, not that I'm complaining. I welcome beauties anytime, Issei said that with a small smile. Ah, yes, she's Akino Hanjima, 3rd year. Nice to meet you, Issei-kun. I came to accompany Rias since I didn't have anything interesting to do and I wanted to show you around too. Akino introduced herself respectfully. Thanks for your concern, Akino-senpai. I'll be under your care too then. When the greetings finished, the boy and the two devils began to walk. First was the conventional store, then the shopping district of Kuo. Like that, the day passed peacefully. After lunchtime at a fancy restaurant, the 3 persons walked around Kuo. The girls sincerely enjoyed their times with Issei. It showed him the game center. Akino destroyed Issei in a car game. As the day passed, evening arrived and the 3 walked to a certain park, facing a fountain. Issei already sensed the presence of a fallen angel, Yuma Amano, approaching. Then Rias said, Issei-kun, we're off for a bit, it will not be long. Hey Rias, stop pushing me. Akino tried to argue against her, but it was no use. Rias excused herself and walked to the park washroom's direction, dragging Akino with her. At that moment Issei understood. D-drag voice echoed on his head. He understood too. 1 for my sacred gear, the 2 others to reincarnate me, Issei concludes sadly. What will you do? At the moment Issei said that, he touched the ground with his index finger to sense everyone's location on the park. As a senjutsu user, detecting the presence of other people was a piece of cake since he can read the flow of kai. There's no one expect us, huh? As he stood up, an invisible barrier formed around the park, trapping the 4 of them on it. Then he waited Yuma to arrive. He sat on a bunch and crossed his legs before a pink light spear transpierced him before a certain fallen angel appears on the sky. It was Rainier, or Yuma Amano in her real appearance. The body of Issei fell from the bunch to the ground, but there wasn't blood. The fallen didn't even notice it. TFFT, I can't believe it was that easy. Now where's his so-called girlfriend? I have to erase her memory. When she said that, she looked towards Issei corpse and it turned blue before it disappeared. The fallen widened her eyes. She turned around only to see Issei seating on the swing. So fallen, speak or die, who sent you to kill me? Issei asked normally. The fallen just smirked and said, Ara, so you knew I was a fallen angel. Too bad, human, this time I will not miss you. When she said that, 2 pink light spears appeared in her hands, then launched it straight at Issei, who covered himself in his red tauge. The light spears didn't penetrate his defense and disappeared. Much at the fallen shock, Issei was unscratched. He didn't even bother dodging it. Why did I didn't do anything to you? You were supposed to be a lowly human, she cried in fear, her body already trembling. Well, you really are stubborn, aren't you, Crow? I will say it for the last time, who sent you to kill me? When he said that, Issei stood up and exposed his red tauge but held back in order to not erase the park. The fallen tried to escape and launched 3 pink light spears. Issei jumped straight at her. He gave a punch on the air to destroy 2 spears, while the other destroyed when she made contact with his tauge. Issei's speed was in a different league than the one of the fallen. As he appeared in front of her, he delivered a punch in her gut. It was an accurate one. The fallen landed on the ground, forming a crater. Issei descended and walked towards her. He began caressing her black wings gently and then muttered into her ear, Hey fallen, if you don't say everything you know, you will not have these wings anymore. After all, you'll not need them in the purgatory. When Issei said that, the fallen face began to pale but didn't say anything. Then, grab. Issei grabbed her 2 black wings with his hands and said, You really are a courageous one. I'm amazed that you're able to sacrifice yourself for someone who sent you into a suicide mission. SSS suicide mission. She said that with a very trembling voice. Yes, you will die right here. Expect if you began to gently tell me everything you know. After all, there's no chance for you to escape. Wait, everything be but not my wings, please. I will give you a favor. I will count to 3. 1. No, please stop, not my wings. Ghhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhh. 2. Gghhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhh. 2. Azazel-sama send me to get rid of you because your sacred gear may be too dangerous for us. That's all. Issei turned her and looked right at her face. His yellow eyes were making her shiver even more. Why yes, release me, please. Issei-kun. Then Rias and Akino appeared from nowhere. In Rias' hands several pieces. The 2 were looking at Issei, who was covered in red tauge, in his hands an immobile fallen angel. Ah, Akino-senpai and Rias-senpai, you've arrived just in time. When he said that with his usual voice, Rainier understood as she tried to fly. Issei's hands glowed with a golden color. Then, now Angel-sen burn. As he said that, Rainier's body was engulfed in golden flames. She cried when Issei's flames began to consume her. In seconds what remained from her was nothing. Even features weren't present on the ground. Then Issei turned his gaze towards the 2 devils, making them flinch a little. Rias summoned a magic circle and threw the pieces inside, while Akino picked up 2 flyers from her pockets who glowed crimson for a moment, before a blonde-haired boy and a white-haired girl appeared. So Rias-senpai, will you explain? Or forceful methods are a necessity. When he said that casually, Rias tried to answer, but the blonde-haired guy already launched himself towards Issei. Don't you dare threaten her. He took his sword and aimed at Issei's left shoulder. Break. When his sword made contact with Issei, she instantly broke. Calm down a little, will you? I just want to talk. At that moment, Issei quickly punched right on the boy's guts. His hand was glowing red from Tauki. Kiba was thrown back until he crashed against the barrier Issei made. One punch. Well, your defense is pretty weak. Now Ria-senpai. When he tried to continue, a thunder attack was launched at him by Akino while Kaneko appeared behind him and kicked him in the back. Bam. When the thunder made contact from the front and Kaneko's sharp kick hit him on his back, a loud sound was made. Akino turned to Rias and stood in front of her. Kaneko did the same with Akino. As the cloud of smoke cleared, what greeted them was Issei unharmed. He was still smiling. But I just wanted to talk. You really want to fight, huh? I will give what you want. When Issei said that, he suddenly disappeared from their sight before a fireball was launched towards Kaneko, who swiftly dodged only to be intercepted by Issei's kick right in the belly. Kaneko fell instantly in her knees and began to cough a considerable amount of blood. I mixed Senjutsu and Tauki with this punch. If I were you, I wouldn't try to move, Issei advised her, then was attacked by a thunder attack with an ice one just behind, leaving him unscratched. Akino-senpai, your magic is too weak. Issei disappeared from her sight again, then he issued her a nudge in the back from behind, then fainted. Issei sighed and turned his eyes to Rias. Now Ria-senpai, let's talk. Issei said that innocently, but Rias launched to him several huge blocks of crimson demonic energy, but just like Akino, the result was obvious. Ria-senpai, you two want to fight me? He pointed behind him. His whole peerage was defeated. I will not let you make fun of me. And furthermore, I will not forgive you for harming my family. She continued to throw at him several blocks of crimson demonic energy, leaving Issei unscratched. She ran off eventually of energy and fell in one knee. The boy approached her and looked down at her. Ria-senpai, why did you want me dead? You knew that Fallen wanted to get rid of me and you've done nothing. Why? Issei asked, her anger obvious in his words. After all, she tried to kill him and making him her slave. I wanted you as my servant. She said it while panting heavily. Her demonic energy reserve already dried up. She felt weak and guilty. She was currently at his mercy, the so-called Lucifer's Amato, a high-class devil. She was defeated along with her peerage by a 17-year-old boy. She realized that she was in the wrong and he had the right to kill her. After all, she tried to do the same to him. Well, it was worse. She tried to kill him, then reincarnate him against his will. Even death is a small price to pay, Issei said coldly. Killing me was the best option. Aren't you ashamed? How can you let someone die so easily? I am. She tried to talk but was interrupted by Issei. I didn't do anything to you or your peerage. I wanted only a peaceful life, and now you want me dead only to reincarnate me as a slave. What's that? I know devils are beings of greed, but you. Issei shut it for 2 or 3 seconds before he declared, looking straight at his eyes, without any hesitation in his words. You're a monster, Ria-senpai. When he said that, his right hand covered herself in red Tauki. Rias made a defensive magic circle. Kaneko tried to move but fall in the ground. Akino and Kiba were already out. Break. Issei's punched her, destroying her barrier like it never existed. She was thrown back until the end of the barrier Issei put around the park. She landed in her knees, coughed blood and fell miserably. We're through now, he said before leaving. Dismissing the barrier, he lifted his head and looked at the sky, who was full of stars, and the horizon was colored with a warm orange. Issei loved this moment of the day. The twilight really relaxed him a lot. He exited the park, leaving 4 devils on the ground. A certain princess-looking blonde-haired guy was lying on the ground. Suddenly his blue-colored eyes opened slowly. He turned his head around and recognized he was in Kyo Park. His memory was a little fuzzy. When he tried to stand up, he began to cough saliva that he quickly wiped out using his arm. He analyzed his surroundings until he saw 3 girls laying on the ground too. The first one was crimson-haired and was at the extremity of the park, but she was closer than the other 2 as he was 2 at the end of it. When he began walking towards her, he felt how bad he was injured. Every single step caused an overwhelming pain to spread on his entire body. He felt this pain in his abdomen principally. Trying to recall what exactly happened here, he suddenly remembered. Hayate Issei, he muttered under his breath. Kiba eyes were flooded in hatred as he continued to walk to the girl, the one who saved him in that snowy forest, Rias Gremory. But you. Arriving at her side, he began to shake her in order to make her wake up. He was worried at no end, because he knew that he acted too rashly since he was the one who attacked Hayate Issei first. It's my fault. Everything's my fault. How? It was unworthy of a king. He began to blame himself mentally until the crimson-haired princess opened her light blue eyes slowly. Kiba nearly cried at this sight and unconsciously hugged her while she was still on the ground. But you. The girl in question widened a little her eyes at the unusual state of her, but smiled warmly as she understood why. I'm all right, Yuudo. Don't worry. Just when she tried to stand up, the same that happened to Yuudo happened to her. She coughed saliva and felt an incredible pain coming out from her body. When she was to fall, Kiba quickly lent her his shoulder. Where are the others? The boy only pointed at the 2 girls lying on the ground a little far away from them, only to cause Rias to tremble. Fearing the worst, both of them headed to them. Kaneko, Akino. Rias cried their names. The black-haired girl opened her eyes, revealing their beautiful violet. Rias, Akino, hang on there, Yuudo, go. and try to wake up Kaneko. The boy only nodded and rushed towards the white-haired petite girl. Kaneko-chan. He began shaking her and giving her small slaps in the face. The girl opened her gold-colored eyes and felt suddenly an urge to cough then. Cough cough. She tainted her school uniform red as she coughed a considerable amount of blood, making Kiba widen his eyes and show a really surprised expression. But you. Kaneko-chan coughed a lot of blood. We have to take her to the hospital. Riaz and Akino turned there to Kaneko. When they saw her state, Riaz made a small magic circle in front of her ear while Akino rushed towards Kaneko and began administering her the first aid using her demonic powers in order to heal her a little. After the small red magic circle that Riaz made in front of her ear and talked into suddenly disappeared, she summoned another one bigger and everyone regrouped in the middle while Kiba lifted Kaneko and held her in a bridal style carrying. We will going to teleport to the R Club room. From there we will head to the Citres Medical Institute. With those final words, Riaz and her group disappeared in a bright crimson light. It was just after the battle with the devils and Rainier. Issei entered his apartment and fall face first on the bed. He didn't even bother to undress himself. Sai seems like I will not be able to shake off the supernatural, huh? He said to himself, but his left hand glowed green before a powerful voice was heard. You mean because I didn't kill them? It's only because of Lucifer. If it was your mother, she'd have already picked up a fight with him, you know. Battle maniacs never changes, D-Drag. I know. But hey, I did it just to scare them a little, never wanted to turn them into my enemies. You may probably be right and probably wrong, but I didn't want to be known by the higher-ups of the underworld and don't attract too much attention, not to mention what my mother would have done to me if my identity was revealed because of something like that. Good night, D-Drag. When Issei said that, a loud snore was heard on his mind. Then he stood up and put up his black yukata after undressing himself. He moved towards the window to close the shutters. When he saw the shiny moon and the starry heavens, he stood there in front of the landscape before he muttered under his breath, I am not going to let you affect my peace, devils. He muttered under his breath, then closed the shutters and moved to his bed before he falls asleep. The next morning, Issei wake up pretty late since it was already 10 and was still laying on his bed, much at his annoyance since he still didn't know how to spend his day off. What should I do? When he was still thinking about what to do, a thought struck his mind. Issei was thinking to visit the shrine situated in Kuo, at the edge of the town exactly. At his rendezvous yesterday with Riaz and Akino before it turned out into a battle. Well, a one-sided battle, both girls told him about the most important places in this town, and he remembered that they mentioned a certain shrine. Well, it was Akino who mentioned it, and since Issei came from Kyoto, he wanted to go and see that place. After all, in Kyoto he liked to go into shrines accompanied by his mother and spent most of his childhood time playing on them. Well, it may not be bad to go and take a look at it. He abruptly stood up and walked to his bathroom while he was still on his yukata and nine tails out. After his bath and coffee, he exited the apartment and walked towards the location of that shrine. Well, it was easy to locate it because it was at the extremity of the town. Arriving at the red enormous Sando crossed it and went up 100 stairs before arriving at the shrine. As he penetrated on it, he felt an awkward feeling. A protection enchantment, he thought. When he lifted his head and examined the shrine, he widened a little his eyes in astonishment. The shrine isn't just a complete one, it was a beautiful one and very well maintained, such a rare thing to see. The shrine is a Nagare-zukuri-styled one, characterized by a very asymmetrical gabled roof projecting outwards on the non-gabled side, above the main entrance, to form a portico, and a hakora was on the court. Issei moved towards the Hayden placed in front of the shrine's main sanctuary, the Nagare-zukuri-styled Honden, and pay his respects by throwing 2 coins inside. Then he clapped 3 times using his hands. Clap, clap, clap. It was the ritual in order to make wishes to the kami who resided in the shrines or was represented by it. He lowered his head and said, Please, Kami-sama, grant me a peaceful and a healthy life. Just when he made his wish and turned to leave the shrine, a blue magic circle appeared on the middle of the court just in front of Issei, whose sweat dropped at the sight. This Kami-sama sure likes jokes, he quietly thought. A single silhouette appeared in the middle of it. When the light faded, what greeted his sight was Akino Hanjima in a Miko attire, consisting of a white haori with red accents, a red hakama, and a pair of zori with white tabai. He instantly sighed and tried to leave the place. Issei moved towards the exit, but he widened his eyes when he felt someone grabbing his hand. I am sorry, Issei-kun. Akino apologized in a trembling voice. By the way, Issei felt her fear because the hand she used to grab his was clammy. Without turning his head, and was still in a shocked state, he coldly said, What are you talking about? Devil. Akino looked down, both in guilt and shame, before she answered. I am sorry for what we did yesterday, and especially for what my king have done. I'm sorry. Issei turned his head back to see Akino's eyes. Her violet-colored ones were a little watery, and the other hand, Issei's usual warm yellow eyes were cold. You really think that I will forgive you and the rest of the peerage you're actually affiliated with just by simple words? When Issei said that, Akino was taken a little back. Certainly she knew that it were nowhere sufficient in order to be forgiven. They tried to kill him and resurrect him as a devil. Mere words couldn't forgive that act. I know that it's not enough and nowhere enough, but I don't know what to do, Akino declared in shame. She was still looking at her feet. Can you tell me one thing? Your king, Riaz Gremory, why is she so greedy? She's disgusting. Akino felt a little angry when she heard Issei insults her best friend and her master, but she knew what he said is true and there's no way that she could say the opposite after what happened to him last night and what Ria's planned for him. You don't know her current circumstances, she quietly said, much at Issei's annoyance. What kind of circumstances can push someone to kill and resurrect someone into a devil? What kind of circumstance can push someone to destroy my life? Tell me. Akino lost her composure at Issei's sudden outburst. Her shaking began to raise a little, and she knew that she couldn't stand a chance against him. See, can you please give me a chance to explain everything? Issei nodded his head before Akino let go off his hand and moved towards the shrine main sanctuary. Issei rubbed his head, not knowing what to do. When the black-haired girl noticed that, she let out a small giggle before she invited Issei to follow her. Come, Issei-kun, this shrine is my current house. Issei raised an eyebrow, a devil living in a shrine. Well, that's something not common, but he felt the link between this and the protection enchantment put around this shrine he felt when he penetrated this place. The boy quietly followed Akino as they both entered inside the main sanctuary. Issei sat on the living room and the devil headed to what seemed to be the kitchen. Issei looked around and was pretty surprised at how beautiful the inside of the sanctuary was. He felt a sense of nostalgia and began to recall the moments he cherished the most when he was still living in Kyoto. Then Akino exited the kitchen with her 2 cups of tea and a plate of snacks that she put on the table before she sat, facing Issei. Issei took the drink that Akino poured for him and widened slightly his eyes at how delicious it was. It's good, even more than the one I have already tasted at the Imperial Palace. Both of them were drinking silently until Issei finished half of his drink. He sat the cup on the table and put a serious face that made Akino sigh in defeat. Ria's well, her circumstance is that she's actually engaged. While Issei was about to argue, certainly finding that killing someone because of that was a foolish reason, Akino continued. In the devil world, high-class devils, well, princesses more precisely, and I mean by that the next female family heads are engaged at a young age to another next head of another family. Ria's don't like her current fiancé and want to cancel this engagement. And that's, I mean you're something like, a chance for her, a chance to cancel it by making you her servant. What do you mean? Issei quietly asked, but even for Akino he is visibly very angry, because it was indeed a foolish reason to kill someone. For this occasion, certainly a rating game will be held between Ria's and her fiancé, and she needs strong pieces in order to stand a chance to him since he already has a complete set. Sorry, do you know what a rating game is? Of course I know, and why did you think that I was strong? You have a sacred gear, and a dragonic type. At that Akino muttered the last part, but Issei did hear it. So I gave off a little of my dragonic aura without realizing it. But it wasn't the only thing. Ria's knew that you were targeted by the fallen angels, so to protect you she meant to resurrect you as a servant of Gremory, and by that you wouldn't had any problem with the Fallens in the future. I have 2 questions, Issei quietly said, and finished his tea. First, did you oppose yourself against the decision of killing me? I mean, I know the current situation of the political scene in the underworld. You surely feared something like a war may be started. I was against that idea of letting you be killed. She answered immediately. Secondly, why aren't you scared of me? You know precisely what I did yesterday, and thus you did approach me and propose me to have a talk normally in your house like nothing happened. And by the way, how did you heal yourself so quickly? That punch was supposed to let you be in bed for 2 days. You didn't kill us yesterday, even if you did you were right. That's why I trust you and I know that you will not harm me if I do nothing. And I have arrived from the Devil's Hospital when I found you here. Okay, then the enchantment put around this shrine is meant for you, to not receive any damage when you live here. Akino widened her eyes slightly. She didn't know that Issei had senses that keen, but she only nods. So that's all, huh? By the way, why did you call your master by her name so casually? I mean, it's not something like Ria-sama or master should be more appropriate. Akino raised an eyebrow at this unusual question and giggled, confusing Issei even more. Ria's is my best friend and she don't like to be seen as a princess from the persons close to her. Issei's directly thought about a certain blonde girl with 9 foxtails. She resembles a bit someone. Tanu. Issei spaced out for a second before he returned. Sorry. So, I was asking you if you could show me your sacred gear, Akino hesitantly said. Issei frowned a little and said, no, and if that's everything I'm going to leave. Thanks for the explanation, and the tea was delicious. As he stood up and headed to the door, Akino asked, so, what's your relation ... with us? Next time, yes, next time you ever dare to touch me or a human the same way you did yesterday, I will make sure you will not stand up on your feet again, you and every one of your peerage. Issei said coldly without even turning his head back. Akino shivered a little at the sudden threat. No, it wasn't a threat. It sounded like a promise. In the road back, Issei walked silently and was looking at the blue sky, wondering if what he did just know was right or not, until he saw a familiar silhouette in a bunch just near. Asia. When he said that, a blonde-haired girl turned her head and smiled brightly when she saw Issei. Issei-san. She rushed towards him and bowed a little, making Issei giggle. She sure is innocent, he thought, and patted gently her head. Are you doing just fine, Asia? The girl only nodded before 2 gurgling were here. Doeg. Both Issei's and Asia's face reddened to the maximum hearing the sounds produced by their respective gut. Want to go in a restaurant, Asia? My treat. After she nodded, Issei managed to find a fast food pretty quickly by chance and entered inside. What would you like to order? The employee asked the couple as they sat on a table. Asia was looking intently at the menu. Issei giggled a bit knowing that she had some difficulties with Japanese, then decided to pick for both. She will have the same order as me. After minutes of trivial talking, both their meals arrived. It was 2 burgers with fries then. Oh, what's wrong, Asia? Issei asked the girl, because she was staring strangely at the food in front of her. I don't know how to eat it. Aha, look at me, Asia, it's easy really. Issei took the burger with both of his hands and began to eat it normally. That's how you eat it, Asia. That's amazing, Issei-san. Asia said in a high tone and was still looking at how Issei was eating. You too, Asia, eat, he said while pointing at her meal. Yay, yes. With their full belly now, both of them exited the restaurant and walked a little then. Both of them heard a boy cry. Asia quickly rushed towards him and saw that he had a bruise in his left forearm with his leg. Near him was a broken bicycle. She deduced that he fall from it trying to learn how to ride on it. Then a green warm aura covered her hands that she put in the 2 bruises the boy had before the blood stopped and the flesh reconstituted itself, making Issei widened his eyes. A sacred gear. It's done, my boy, you're healed. The boy she healed was equally stunned as Issei and bowed his head in thanks before leaving. Asia, it's an amazing power you got there. When Issei said that with a small smile, Asia put a bitter one and sat on the bunch who was just behind her. Issei-san, would you like to listen to my story? The boy in question just nodded and sat beside her. As he opened his ears and listened her story carefully, he was astonished. The story of the who turned into a girl who was parentless. She was raised in a church as a nun since she was young with the others orphans who were in the same situation as her. This girl, who had a complete faith in God and was a strong follower of his teachings, were gifted by an amazing power when she was 8. The power to heal, because one day she healed a wounded puppy and a person from a Catholic church witnessed it by chance. From there on, her life changed completely. She was taken to the main Catholic church and was symbolized as the Holy Maiden because of her healing power. She used her gifted power to heal many believers and was happy that she could help people and be useful to people, but as she was respected for her power, people were nice to her as she was nice to them, but she didn't have a friend to open up to because of that. She felt a bit lonely but didn't say anything and continued to heal injured people. One day a devil was nearby and healed him without knowing who it was. She didn't know he was a devil, and by chance there were people who witnessed it. The Holy Maiden healing a wounded devil. It caused a scandal in the church, and the girl known as the Turned Into and was excommunicated from the church. The higher-ups of the church was pretty mad about it. A power that can heal devils. Something absurd like that cannot happen. The power of healing can only heal the followers of God. Everyone was shocked that the girl could not only heal the followers of God but even devils. Thus labeled as a witch, she was abandoned. And even so, she never abandoned her faith in God and his teachings. There was no one who cared about her. Even the God she believed on abandoned her. The girl in question is Asia. Asia were full of tears as she was talking about her painful past, but began to laugh. It's because I'm clumsy and I don't have enough faith. It's a trial by God I have to pass through. I'm so stupid. I don't have any common sense, that's why. She was speaking to herself. This sight made Issei's yellow eyes watery. He didn't even notice and hugged Asia, who was still crying. One of the friends to go and buy flowers, books, talking to them about unnecessary things. Issei then tightened his hug much at the surprise of Asia. Asia, I'm going to be your friend. No, I think that we're already friends. Well, we didn't buy flowers or books, but we talked to each other. It wasn't for too long, but I don't know about your past, Asia, or even your present, but I know that you're a good girl and I really like you. Issei said that bluntly. Asia, on the other hand, wiped her tears and said while still sobbing, but Issei-san, I don't have any common sense. It doesn't matter, Asia, I will help you. I will be your friend, so no more crying. The girl flowed out with a smile that made Issei's heart skip a bit. Thank you, Issei-san. And by the way, me too, I have a sacred gear. Look, boosted gear. Boost. A red gauntlet appeared on Issei's left arm with sharp nails, making Asia look at it in great interest. It's amazing, Issei-san. What is it? It's the Red Dragon Emperor Gauntlet, a Longinus tier sacred gear. So you're very strong, Issei-san. More or less. Now do you mind going with me to the game center? After that, both Issei and Asia moved to the game center. They played all the afternoon. Asia didn't broke her smile all the afternoon. Issei got for her a small cuddly toy that she really wanted from a crane game. Well, Issei tried at least 5 times before getting it, but Asia's smile was definitely worth the effort for him. Nearly night, Issei accompanied Asia until they reached the abandoned church. Are you sure you don't want to come with me, Asia? I'm serious. I still have plenty of space in my apartment. No, it really is fine, Issei-san. The people here treat me very well and I don't need anything. Asia, you will never be a burden for me. You're my friend, okay? So don't feel shy. I will welcome you anytime. I know, and I thank you for that, Issei-san, but I'm really fine here. If I need something, I will definitely tell you. Good, then I will leave, Asia. Good night. Good night, Issei-san. As both separated, Asia with her small cuddly toy smiling, and in the other hand Issei, who was worried. I don't want to leave her in there. Maybe you should ask the Fallens what they are planning to do with her next time. Look who's wake up. You slept all day, D-Drag. Nah, I was awake when you were in the shrine until you finished your little date. D-Drag began to taunt Issei, whose face reddened a little. It wasn't a date. And by the way, what do you think they're planning to do with her? Like that, the night passed quietly and the morning arrived. Issei headed to school normally and passed the school gate. After a morning pretty calm, Issei sat under a tree and was eating the bread he brought from the cafeteria quietly and enjoying the sight of the perverted duo being chased by the kendo club members. Issei really enjoyed his current situation. On the old school building, 3 figures were watching him quietly. Sona Citri, Rias Gremory, and Akino Hanjima were talking about the current possible threat to them. Hayato Issei's existence. I don't think he's a threat if we don't manage to anger him. After all, I already told both of you about what happened yesterday in the shrine, Akino said. I agree with you, Akino, but we mustn't let our guard down because of that. Rias, I highly recommend you to present proper excuses for the boy after school, Sona continued. Why yes, I really should. And by the way, how Kaneko Taoju-san is doing? When Sona asked, both girls put a complicated expression before Rias spoke. Her life isn't in danger and is currently at her apartment resting for today since she insisted that she was going to fulfill her devil jobs this night, but we used 2 phoenix tears. The punch he gave her was definitely not normal, Sona noticed. I think I heard that he mentioned senjutsu and Titauki, said Akino while looking down. I'm not sure, my memory is still a little fuzzy, but I think he mentioned both. If he can use senjutsu then. Yes, that explained why it took that much to heal her. After all, the biggest damage she received was in her knee. They send me a report from the institution that even her Kai circulation was affected. Well, she's alright, that's the only thing that matters for now. This afternoon, Akino, you will accompany me. I will present him excuses and try to find a way to improve our current relation. Yufufu, of course. And like that, the bell rang and everyone joined their class. Afternoon school finished pretty quickly and Issei took his bag and prepared to leave. A certain crimson-haired girl appeared at the door. Behind her was Akino. Both of them entered the empty class since Issei was the last to leave. They headed towards his desk. The boy sighed heavily. Good afternoon, Issei-kun. I came to save your breath, Gremory. I will not forgive you and I will not even recognize the excuses you want to present. Saying that, he exited the room and both devils looked at their feet and sighed in defeat. It would be tough to deal with him, thought Rias. While Issei was walking towards home, he made a detour from the supermarket to get his favorite coffee and some snack bars. While heading home, night already caught the kitsune, but it didn't bother him. While he was walking peacefully, he suddenly felt a strong killing intent coming out from a nearby house. Intrigued, he decided to move inside, and what found inside surprised him. A human was nailed at the wall, in the same way as Jesus was nailed against the cross in the Bible. Blood colored all the wall. It was creepy. Then he turned his head and saw a familiar silhouette. H-A-H-A-H-A-H-A, what's up, devil? That's all you got. Even if you are just a midget like Devil, I will take the greatest pleasure in killing you. A white-haired handsome guy with red eyes wearing a priest outfit was holding a gun and light sword. A little away from him was Kaneko Taoju, panting heavily with a lot of bruises. When she turned her head and saw Issei, she began to tremble even more. Issei knew what happened between the two in a matter of seconds. The man nailed at the wall must be her client, and since that guy killed him in such a manner, he's a stray priest. Whoosh! Issei suddenly covered himself on his red tauki and moved at Godspeed towards the priest, who couldn't dodge clearly the punch he gave but managed to block it with his silver handgun. The handgun instantly broke and pushed away the priest, who crashed in the kitchen by breaking 2 walls. Kaneko didn't say anything. She was astonished not about the strength of the boy but about the fact that he protected her. He turned his gaze towards her. The petite girl just looked up to him. Her golden eyes were drowned in his yellow ones. He gave her his hand that she took gladly in order to stand up properly. Then another silhouette appeared from nowhere. It was Asia. Hey, Issei-san. Asia, what are you doing here? Issei said worriedly, but was interrupted by the white-haired priest. Asia-chan, don't approach him. He's dangerous. Come and heal me. I will definitely kill that devil. Father Fried. Asia rushed towards his side and began healing him. Asia, don't heal him. He's crazy. He's the one who done that to this man, not that petite girl. Asia turned her head back and was gonna say something, but Fried took his light sword and pointed it towards Asia that he catches her by the waist. Ah, you know her. Good. Now don't fucking move, you little shit. And the midget devil that sentence took Issei back and didn't try to do anything. If you move a single nail, I will decapitate her, okay? Just when he said that, a red magic circle appeared inside the room, revealing Kiba Yuudo, Rias Gremory, and Akino Hanjima. What happened here? Kaneko, the crimson-haired girl instantly said and rushed towards the petite white-haired devil. Kiba was looking towards Issei with a little of killing intent, and Akino widened her eyes and said, "But you, a group of fallen angels is heading towards here. Next time, devils. Hey, you yellow-eyed freak, if you dare following me, little Asia-chan will get her head fall, got it?" he said and rushed towards the window. Asia, Issei-san, I will come to save you. Please hang on there. Issei cried at the top of his lungs. Asia nodded her eyes and putted strong eyes before Fried jumped and traversed the window. The devils, on the other hand, regrouped themselves inside the magic circle and disappeared while Issei waited for the fallen angels to arrive inside the house. Then he felt that 2 of them changed their direction and one was still heading here. After a couple of minutes, a man with a black fedora appeared and entered the house. You are the boy supposed to be killed by Rainier. And you're, oh, yeah, you mean Yuma Mano. My name is Donasik, and yes, where is she? I guess she's paying for her sins right now. When Issei said that, Donosik cried in rage and launched at him a multitude of blue light spears that he swiftly dodged. You aren't really accurate, old man. You will die here, my boy. He launched at him several others light blue spears. Issei just smirked and moved towards him in an overwhelming speed. It gave the illusion of teleportation from a third-person view. He punched him so hard that it penetrated through his gut. Drip, drip, drip. Cough, cough, cough. Blood was dripping from his wound. Issei's hand was still in Donosik's abdomen, and the latter just coughed an insane amount of blood. Now, if you don't want to die very painfully, then speak. What do you want to do with Asia? Cough, the holy priestess. Cough, retire. Cough, her sacred gear. You want to retire her sacred gear? The man only nodded. His face is losing its colors. Is the procedure will harm her? She cough will cough die. She will die. Issei took out his hand from the hole he's created on the crow's body and headed towards the church quickly. As he retired it, Donosik blood gushed forth from the wound and fall. Huh, I will die, it seems. Well, Kalawarner and Mitlet Koff will soon join me, huh? When he said that, he gave his last breath and rested motionless on the ground. Butchu, we have to help Issei-senpai, said Kaneko. No, he's too dangerous and he can take care of himself. Rias refused. Rias, I approve it. It's a little careless to take head on a group of fallen angels, Aquino interjected. Butchu, please, he saved me. If it wasn't him, that crazy priest would have killed me by now. Kaneko pleaded his master. What do you think about it, Kiba? The blonde-haired boy put a complicated expression. Since we have already done something unforgivable. And he saved Kaneko-chan's life then. Rias clenched her fist and said, then it's decided. Let's move towards the abandoned church. Kaneko, if you want to rest, then do. No, I'm alright, I can keep up. A red magic circle was summoned at the corner of the room. They regrouped there and suddenly the peerage disappeared in a blinding crimson light. They appeared outside the church. They moved inside and saw a little puddle of blood on the ground and a broken light sword. They continued inside and saw 4 or 7 corpses. Surely they're stray priests. Then what they saw left them stunned. Issei was heading towards the abandoned church at an immense speed. After he heard that Asia was going to be killed, he lost all of his reason and moved bluntly towards the church and left Donosik alone. Well, he was certainly dead if we judge it by the insane amount of blood that he already lost. Issei arrived at the front door of the church. With a single punch he opened it, or should I say, destroyed it. He moved inside and was greeted by a maniacal laugh. Ha ha ha, you are pretty fast for a devil, you little shit, hey. Please die quietly. After all, Asia-chan will definitely join you in a matter of seconds. Issei sharpened and covered himself again in another layer of red tauki. He disappeared from the sight of Freed and reappeared in front of him. He aimed his punch towards his face, but the fallen priest only blocked it with his sword made of light, but it wasn't nearly enough. And the sword broke. When Issei's punch made contact with the stray priest's face, the latter was sent crashing inside one of the church's wall. Issei didn't even look at him and continued his run. Arriving at what it seems a ritual chamber, Asia was stuck on a cross by chains. The girl was unconscious and then the chains began to glow red, and another maniacal laugh was heard by Issei. That laugh resembles a bit the one of Freed. Tall woman with a buxom figure and blue hair appeared from the shadows. Behind her was a blonde girl with blue eyes and wearing gothic Lolita attire. Both of them were fallen angels. Hey hey ha, will finally be mine. Nice job, Kalawarner Nichan. Now we will definitely get enough power to be recognized by Azizel-sama. Then in Asia's hands, 2 rings glowed green. Issei understood instantly. In-o-o-o, he cried, getting the attention of the 20 or 30 stray priests in the room. Another layer of red tauki covered him again. Cracks began to appear on the ground beneath Issei. He quickly rushed towards Asia, but a wall of stray priests appeared in front of him. He didn't even bother dodge, and all of them began to slash him with their swords that broke when they made contact with his tauki. Issei punched 3 or 4 of them, killing them instantly. The priests who saw that quickly escaped. Clack clack. The 2 rings in Asia's hand suddenly fall on the ground. The sound echoed in all the church. Issei stopped his attack and looked at the core of Asia, who fall down from the cross when the chains suddenly disappeared. Issei was quick enough to catch Asia's body. Aha, finally this healing power is mine. A loud laugh was heard in the silent church. Both fallen angels were grinning. The blue-haired one in particular was excessively happy. Issei, on the other hand, was motionless. He knew what happened. He began shaking Asia's corpse. Hey Asia. Issei-sen, you came for me. Yeah, Issei's body began to tremble before a river of cries began to flow on the face. You're crying for someone like ... me. And Asia, I'm sorry. Why, I didn't made it. It's not a reason for you to be sorry. I'm happy that I made a friend at least. Don't say that. There's no reason for you to be sorry. I'm more than happy to have someone like you to cry over my death, Asia said that while trying to put her trembling hand in Issei's cheek. Please, Asia. Issei took Asia's hand and felt her coldness. Thank you for yesterday, Issei-san. I'm happy that you're my first friend. And no, Asia. Her body began to pale. You really are a nice person, Issei-san. When her bright green eyes closed, Issei's heart was utterly destroyed. It took her long enough to die. Well, her sacred gear is priceless. Hey Mitlet, why don't we kill that guy? Raynor failed, it seems. Haha, why not? We will make him join his little friend. Then both of them, Kalawarner and Mitlet respectively, formed a blue and pink light spear that both thrown at the same moment. Issei didn't protect himself with his tauki or his sacred gear. The blue spear pierced his left shoulder and the other pierced his left thigh. His school uniform began to turn crimson. He continued to look down at Asia's body, then a group of devils appea-. From the front door. Issei-kun. Akino cried before something unexpected happened. Whoosh! 9 fox tails appeared from his body, accompanied with fox tears. His normal pupils turned into slit ones. He unconsciously putted Asia's head in his chest and covered her body using his fluffy 9 fox pale gold tails with white spikes. His face was flooded of cry. He tainted Asia nun outfit with his cries. Asia, you too were my first friend. His cold voices echoed through the whole room. I'm sorry. I didn't deserve someone like you as a friend. I'm a useless. Red Tauki. No, it's not red. But, please, let this useless friend of yours. The usual yellow color of his eyes turned green. Avenge your death. A crimson-colored Tauki began to cover Issei. It continued to grow. Devils and fallen angels were stunned at this sight. Issei's power began to rise, and rise again. It appeared limitless. Cracks began to appear on the church, wall and ground. A crater was formed beneath the fox. It did affect everyone except Asia and him. His teeth began to sharpen. He put Asia's body on a bunch and put his hand in both light spears, the one on his shoulder and the one on his thigh. He removed them with no effort and no sign of pain. Even blood didn't fall from the wounds. The 2 fallen angels felt his overwhelming and monstrous killing intent. It was aimed towards them after all. As they tried to flee, they both launched towards the angered fox several light spears. Issei's exposed aura was enough to crush them. Just when he moved, he reappeared in front of the 2 fallens and delivered 2 punches in their respective guts, and only that was enough to send them crashing on the floor. No one could follow Issei's movements as he descended towards the 2 fallens on the ground. He found them immobile, lying in their respective craters, the ones that formed when they crashed pathetically on the ground. Issei moved towards the petite blonde girl with a gothic Lolita outfit and took her from the throat before he lifted her of it. Cough, cough, please cough, don't kill me. The small girl began to plead for her life. Issei, on the other hand, didn't even hesitate and tightened his grip on her throat. Crack! A clear and loud sound was heard coming out from the body of the girl, who instantly died. Everyone began to tremble a little at this sight. The kitsune didn't hesitate a second. Burned. At that moment, Midlet's body was engulfed in a golden flame. After a couple of seconds, her body totally vanished, like it never existed. He then turned his eyes towards the blue-haired girl who was trying to heal herself using Asia's sacred gear. He slowly moved towards her, covered in his crimson Tauki. He gave a presence of an angry god. He took both the 2 hands of Calawarner, then tightened his grip. Crack, crack. Ghhh, the fallen let out a loud cry of pain. Issei, on the other hand, just looked down at her with his now green glowing eyes with a slit pupils. He lifted her just like the first from the throat and said, "You will not be forgiven." Crack. The exact crack was heard, the same one Midlet gave off before she died. Now a golden flames engulfed her body too, leaving not even feathers. Clack, clack. 2 green rings fall on the ground. Issei calmed down his aura and made his Tauki disappear. He silently took them and moved towards Asia's corpse. Asia, I'm sorry, he said, before he put her sacred gear on her middle finger in both hands. Then Issei felt 2 hands on both his 2 shoulders. He turned his head back and saw Ria's Gremory and Kaneko Taoju. Do you want me to resurrect her as a devil? She said. Will you treat her well? Issei asked. Yes, don't worry about that, Riaz assured him. Then Kaneko gave Riaz a crimson piece. Ria's Gremory body was covered in a crimson aura and said, I order, in my name Riaz Gremory, you, Asia Argento, I resurrect you back to this soil as my servant, and have you reborn as a devil. You, be delighted with your new life. The piece entered slowly inside Asia. The girl opened her eyes slowly. When Issei saw her big green eyes, he immediately tackled her in a hug and began to sob. Asia, Asia, Asia. The nun, confused at first, when she remembered what happened, she smiled warmly and began to pat Issei's head before she noticed Issei's tails. Issei, sen, you're a dog. Your tails are so fluffy. They're so cute. A sudden silence was brought inside the church before everyone expected Issei, and Asia began to laugh loudly. The former was blushing heavily. It's not exactly that, Asia. But let's not talk about it for now. He gave her his hand and said with a bright smile, Let's go home. Asia only nodded and gladly took his hand and stood up. Both of them leave the church. Issei and the group of devils' eyes met, but Issei, this time, gave them his brightest smile as thanks. A brown-haired boy was on his bed. His 9 fox tails and fox ears were out, still sleeping soundly until a nice smell came out from the kitchen that the kitsune didn't fail to notice it. He opened his yellow eyes tiredly before rubbing them. His pupils were slit. He suddenly stood up, wearing his usual black yukata, and made his way to the kitchen, and tried to not get caught by the blonde-haired girl who was visibly still preparing the breakfast. When he saw the plates on the table, mostly Western food that looked delicious, Issei was drooling. Proper food. He immediately, every morning since he arrived on this town, his breakfast was usually a black coffee thanks to his miserable skills in cooking. Just when he tried to taste what she already prepared, Asia sensed it and quickly turned back and struck his hand with a spatula. Clack. Oh, it hurts, Asia. Issei cried a little in pain at the unexpected hit he got from the former nun. I know that Issei-san is hungry, but don't you think it's too much? But it's delicious. Please let me just tack. No, Issei-san. Go and take a bath and dress properly or we will be late, Asia said that while she pointed her index finger towards the bathroom direction. After all, Asia was already in her school uniform and ready to leave. Issei sighed in defeat and headed to take a quick shower. When he finished and put his school uniform, he quickly swallowed all what Asia prepared for him. He really became addicted to Asia's cooking. Ah yes, and it's Tuesday, precisely 2 days after Asia's resurrection as a devil. Ria's Gremory already enrolled her as a new second-year student, and she's in the same class as Issei. It was a peaceful 2 days, in fact, because Ria's only sent Asia's school uniform to Issei's home. The latter still didn't know how she got his address. However, she didn't even try to talk to her newest, much at the confusion of Issei, but he already knew that today she'll definitely ask Asia to come to the clubroom. He didn't really care because he knew that Ria's realized that the cute blonde girl was already someone important to him. In the road to school, both Asia and Issei were walking quietly and side by side while the two of them were smiling and enjoying their current situation. "Good morning, Hayato-kun," and Asia-san. Both of them turned their heads back and were greeted by the sight of Kiba. "Good morning, Kiba-san." Asia greeted him by a smile while Issei only nodded. "I'm sorry to bothering the two of you, but I was sent by Butchu to deliver a message for you. Asia-san, you have to come in the occult research clubroom situated in the abandoned school building. We will wait for you after school. We have to tell you 2 or 3 basic things about devils." "I'll come, Kiba-san. Can Issei-san come too?" Asia innocently asked and turned her eyes towards Issei, who just put a bitter smile and answered, "I will accompany you." "Me too, I have to talk with your Asia." That sentence made Kiba narrow his eyebrows before he said menacingly, "Do you plan something funny, Hayato-kun?" Those words made Issei chuckle a little. No, don't worry, Knight-kun. Just a small talk between her and me," he answered honestly, lowering the guard of Kiba, who just nodded and waved his hand before leaving both of them in their current walk to school. "Issei-san, ... You shouldn't be that harsh towards Kiba-san." "Oh, don't worry about that, Asia." When they continued to walk, Asia sent to Issei 2 or 3 worried looks. "Hey Asia, something bothering you?" Issei asked, certainly sensed that Asia wanted to say something. "You still didn't ... told me why you hate devils that much." Asia quietly said, "I don't really dislike them nor like them, by the way. It's just that Gremory tried to kill me before resurrecting me." Asia widened her eyes, and when she was going to speak, Issei interrupted her abruptly. "Don't worry, Asia. I already gave her a little lesson, and since she resurrected you, you can say that we're more or less neutral." Asia sighed in relief at his words. In the other hand, Issei was still in his thoughts. Well, she reincarnated Asia for her own reasons, certainly thinking that her healing power may be useful in the battle against his so-called fiancé. She's certainly thinking that she gained my trust already. As both of them crossed the school gate, they headed towards their classroom. Issei moved to his desk while Asia sat in the desk behind him. The teacher entered the classroom, then the lesson began. It was a calm day for Issei and Asia. Both of them enjoyed it. The lessons were easy for Issei and was glad to give Asia's a hand, because she was still not familiar with Japanese but could understand clearly the talk since she became a devil, but in terms of writing it she was still progressing, really quickly by the way. And now at lunchtimes Issei has his bento prepared by the skilled Asia. He really enjoyed it. In a blink of an eye the day ended and Asia along Issei headed towards the old school building, where was the base of the Gremory peerage. Even Issei never penetrated here before. Both arrived at an elegant wooden door. Issei knocked 2 consecutive times before the door was opened by a small white-haired girl. Issei-kun and Asia. "Good afternoon." The crimson-haired girl who behind the bureau greeted both of them casually with a warm smile. Asia bowed respectfully and Issei merely nodded. Both sat on the couch, Asia facing Kiba while Issei facing Kaneko. Then Akino Himejima appeared from behind Rias and poured Issei and Asia some tea. Issei quickly started drinking it. While the last time he tasted it at her shrine, it was really delicious. "So, Asia, I made you came here to meet you properly and to introduce you to my servants that are now your fellow comrades." When Rias said that, she nodded towards the 3 low-class devils other than Asia who made their devil wings appear. "My name is Akino Himejima, Butchu's 3rd year. Nice to meet you, Asia-chan. I'm Kiba, Rias Gremory's 2nd year. It's a pleasure to meet you, Asia-san. Taniko Taoju, 1st year. Pleased to meet you, Asia-senpai." From Asia's back, 2 black bat-like wings appeared and made her jump a little before she composed again and said with a slight bow, "I'm Asia Argento. Nice to meet you, everyone. Please take care of me from now on." All the devils smiled warmly at their newest comrade before Asia asked, "So, Rias-sam, and please call me Butchu from now on, Asia, since you're officially a member of the Occult Research Club." "Yes, so Butchu-san, what piece am I?" "You're I will explain you afterwards each piece special trait. It would be more easy to understand in a real battle." "Oh, okay, so. And, yes, I didn't call you today only for simple greetings, but I wanted to know more about you sacred gear." When Rias said that with a smile, Asia made 2 rings who glowed and a warm green light appear in her hands, 1 in each hand. "This is I can heal injuries more or less mortal. It depends on how bad it is." "Interesting. And what about you, Issei-kun? Don't you want to show us your sacred gear?" When Rias said that hesitantly, Issei sighed and said, "No." The crimson-haired girl looked at her feet in defeat, then lifted her head and said, "Asia-san, you know about the supernatural situation. By that I mean what happened in the Great War and all." "Yes, Issei-san told me everything I should know this past 2 days." "That's good. So he told you that you cannot read the Bible unless you receive severe headaches, and you cannot use holy water anymore or you might even kill yourself." The poor former nun only nodded in sadness. Issei sent her a worried look, but even he didn't know what he could do. Well, since you already have a general idea about what's happening, then I should tell you that as a devil, you will now fulfill contracts with human, and don't worry, you will not begin today. Like that, the small talk continued. Trivial things were spoken between Asia and the other devils. Time run late, and one by one, Akino, Kiba, and Kaneko began to leave because they were summoned by humans. Asia, Rias, and Issei were alone inside the clubroom. Senpai Issei called Rias, who flinched a little. She answered while checking some paper on her desk. I will say it only for one time. Your queen already told me about your situation in the underworld, as she already reported it to you, and I already conclude that you resurrected Asia for this matter. Asia looked confused while Rias looked towards Issei, both in shock and confusion because she didn't know what he wanted to express by saying that. I don't blame you for that. In the opposite, I'm grateful that you saved Asia. Rias eased up a little when Issei said that, but the boy continued. But don't step your boundaries. As I said, I may forgive you, but I will not and never forget. I'm only warning you, don't try to harm Asia or me or an innocent only for your sake as a princess. What are you trying to say? Rias asked, visibly a little angered at the sudden words of Issei. That I'm not your ally nor your enemy, but if you try to play with me, you'll get yourself in the same state the fallen angels that harmed Asia are now. Issei's cold words sent shivers to Ria's spines. Issei was emitting unconsciously a little of his power that Asia noticed even without training. She took Issei's hand and clasped it firmly before she called out his name. Issei-san. It's okay. Issei looked at her for a second before he calmed down and nodded to her. Rias is still a little stunned at the sudden confession of Issei, but she pushed herself to ask something that really intrigued her. By the way, Issei-kun, you're a yaokai. Yeah, a half kitsune and half human. That explains his tails and his still unknown sacred gear, thought Rias. Then a red magic circle appeared on the room, and Akino appeared, certainly because she already fulfilled her duty as a devil and made some pacts with her usual clients. I'm back, Butchu. Ah, already done, Akino. Yeah, it was the usual. Akino made her way to the couch and sat in front of Issei. A small red magic circle appeared on Ria's left ear without Issei noticing it before he spoke up. Well, that's not all, but since you already finished, why? Rias interrupted him and said, a stray devil were localized inside my territory. It's a request from the Archduke in person. Akino, call out Yuudo and Kaneko. The stray is a high-class one. Akino narrowed her eyebrows suddenly and made a small magic circle, a communication type just like the one Rias used to receive the report an instant ago, and talked on it, certainly calling out Kiba and Kaneko, who after several minutes, both of them appear on the clubroom, and both wear the same serious expression as Akino and Rias. As you probably know, this is our first high-class stray devil we've to eliminate. Ria's sudden declaration made Issei widen his eyes before he said, it's your first, and you're planning to take Asia with you. When Issei said that, Rias sighed and nodded before she spoke again. Yes, I will certainly need her in this mission, even if it's my first high-class stray I have to kill. I'm sure. Suddenly the boy interrupted her. I will come with you. This sudden sentence made everyone widen their eyes for an instant, even Asia. Issei-san, why, you don't have to worry that much. No, I will come, but I will not interfere in the battle. Expect if Asia is in danger. What do you think, Gremory? Rias put a thoughtful look before she nodded, but Kiba spoke. Butchu, we don't need him. I'm sure we can. Knight-kun, as I said, I will only accompany you for Asia's sake. Even if that stray kills you, I will not interfere, don't worry. Issei's cold confession made Kiba narrow his eyes and silenced up. Akino showed a worried look, not about Issei but about the stray. Then the group of devils, accompanied by the nine-tailed fox, made their way in the middle of night towards a certain abandoned manufactural area situated at the edge of Kuo Town. When they entered the complex, both Issei and Kaneko widened their eyes slightly, but only the white-haired lowly spoke. Butchu, the smell of blood. Rias narrowed her eyes and Issei took position behind Asia, and Akino said to Rias in a silent voice, even Issei couldn't hear it. Rias, what the Archduke honestly told you. I'm sure we aren't ready for this kind of mission. The crimson-haired girl froze at the question asked by her. He told me to only be careful and don't engage a battle with him, since 2 peerage of elderly high-class devils are already on the way to the human world in order to hunt down that. Akino widened their eyes to the sudden confession of her best friend. She didn't know that her master could be that. Stupid. Rias, we can't do it. Let's retreat and follow the instructions given by the Archduke. We aren't near the level of thaw. Akino's sudden outburst caught off guard the rest of the group, who put a confused face before Rias spoke up. Don't worry, we will manage. After all, it's my territory and it's my duty as the next heir of the Gremory clan to protect it. Immediately when she finished her sentence, an overwhelming killing intent was sent to the group, and it came from the abandoned-looking building in front of them. Issei narrowed his eyes slightly when he sensed the aura emitting of whatever was on this building. It's good that I came. That thing isn't weak. He silently though and put Asia behind his back. What's it smell? And devils. Oh my. A monstrous voice was suddenly heard by the group. It came from the direction of the killing intent. Then unexpectedly, a silhouette appeared and exited the building. It was a small boy with dark blue hair and crimson eyes. Even for the perspective of a normal being, that boy wasn't normal. Not only his special physical traits, but even his white pale skin was definitely bizarre. Issei narrowed his eyes and said to the boy, "You're the high-class stray in question, I suppose." "Oh, so you know who am I? I'm not only a high-class one, I'm an SS class to be correct." And you're obviously a yokai, but you are from which race? The group widened their eyes when they heard the small boy, or I should the stray, talking, but Issei only smirked and said, "You're really an interesting. I'm a kitsune but not a pure-blooded one, but who are you? Or should I say, in which peerage you were affiliated before? You are sharp, my boy. I'm Banwa Marchoges, a descendant of the now extinct house of and the former of the current heir of the house." Issei remained silent but kept his serious expression, Asia still behind him. He kept staring at the without getting his guard off. Then Ria's Gremory declared, "As the next heir of the Gremory clan, I was sent to get rid of you. Prepare yourself, Banwa Marchoges." When Ria said that pridefully, the stray began to giggle and asked the crimson-haired princess, "The next heir of the Gremory clan? Don't tell me that the current house of Agairs, titled as the Archduke, sent you here to hunt me." Rias nodded and covered herself with her crimson aura. Kiba Yudo summoned a black sword on his hands. Akino changed her clothes from the school uniform to her Miko attire and covered her body with a pale golden aura, and Kaneko Taoju made a battle stance. At this sight, Banwa Marchoges began to laugh heartily and said, "You're kidding me, sending an incomplete peerage of such a young devil to defeat me. It's either you are an ultimate class devil in term of power, or you're a liar. So which one is true?" Rias only ignored him and summoned a black crimson block of demonic power before she launched it towards the crimson color-eyed boy, who dodged it with minimal movements. Then Kiba moved towards the boy in question and tried to damage him with his swords, and even if his movements were really quick and accurate, the stray devil kept dodging like it was nothing. Then several thunder attacks fused with elemental magic ones were sent towards the boy, whose body began to glow with a faint purple. Poof! A sudden sound was made, then the boy's body began to morph. He turned black and fear were growing in all his body, who was constantly growing taller. Then ROAAAR, a strong roar echoed through all the abandoned manufacturing area, and what greeted the sight of the group was something really unexpected. Even Issei began to wear his red tauki. It was a monster, a black wolf with a man's form as well as a griffin's wings and a serpent's tail. "I really wanted to show you my true appearance to you young devils. You shall taste the true power of the great Marquis." When he said that, Kaneko Taoju moved towards him and began a fist fight and was overwhelmed by the strength of the monster in front of her in just seconds. While she was currently losing ground in her fight against that monster, who seemed to Issei that he was holding Black Severlie, Kiba Yudo joined their fight and began to assist Kaneko with his blinding speed and sharp sword swings. It made small cuts in the monster's body, but nothing serious, much at Kiba's frustration. Then Akino flied to the sky while summoning a large crimson magic circle. Thunder came from it as a pillar and was directed towards Banwa Marchoges, who didn't even bother to dodge. As the attack ended, we can clearly see smoke emitting from the Black Wolf's fury, but it was nothing serious since his body wasn't burned or injured. Kiba continued his assault against the monster that was still crushing Kaneko in a fist fight. Ria summoned several bullets of her crimson energy that she sent towards the monster, who was uninjured. Only mere scratches were made on his body. Suddenly Banwa Marchoges sent a sharp punch towards Kaneko's gut. She was sent flying backwards before she crashed in the building behind her, making a large hole on the wall. Kiba, who saw that, dropped a little his guard, only to be smacked down by the monster's serpent tail. The swordsman caught a little of blood and fainted on the crater he made when he got hit by the monster. Akino, who was panting heavily because of her near-empty magic power reserve, sent what appeared to be her last attack combined with an attack of Ria's. The monster opened his mouth and breathed a large fireball that engulfed both their attacks. The fireball continued its course towards the two girls. Akino made a defensive red magic circle, but it was broke and received all the damage by protecting her master. "You servants are really loyal to you, Gremory." The crimson-haired one-sama was shaking heavily. Asia's sudden eye disappeared from Issei's back, who was still looking towards the monster. Asia's hand began to glow green before she touched the body of Akino, visibly healing her, since her injuries were disappearing one by one. "I don't really like the idea of killing you. Getting rid of such young devils will be regretful, but since you're the one who decided to attack me, it's only fair to hit you back, don't you think?" Rias turned pale, shaking uncontrollably. Asia said to Issei, "Issei-san, please, help Butchu-san. She will get herself killed." Hearing the innocent cry of his precious friend, he only sighed heavily, and wore another layer of his red tauki before he launched himself at an amazing speed towards the Black Wolf and punched him from the side, sending him flying back. "I decide to step in for now, Banwa. You're an amazing opponent and it wouldn't be bad to fight you. What do you think? Want to have a fight with me?" The monster smirked and said with an excited voice, "I don't mind, young Kitsune, but if you die, it's you who wished for it." Suddenly a purple aura began to cover his body, making the ground crack under the pressure given by his aura. "You were holding back a lot when you faced them, huh?" Issei noticed. "Aha, yeah, I wanted to know their actual power, the power of the devils who will build the future of the underworld, but it's really disappointing." Issei grinned, and began to increase the amount of red tauki around him. "You are interesting, really interesting. It's such a shame that you will die in one hit." "One hit? Your senses are broken, I suppose. I'm an SS-class stray devil and I'm currently showing an aura that rivals the one given by Ultimate Class's devils. Are you mad?" "Banwa, I wanted to fight you with only my base powers, but I'm afraid that I got to use a little of my true potential. Since I don't want to take the risk of destroying this town in our fight, I have to use it. Be proud, you will have the privilege to witness it." The monster prepared himself and wore a battle stance, his purple aura still increasing in size. A large crater was made beneath him. Asia was now healing Kiba, and Akino moved towards Kaneko and helped her, standing up while Rias was watching Issei's and Balmoi's fight. "Show me then, I'm ready," when Balmois said. Issei smirked and said, "Boosted gear." When he cried that out loud, a metallic-looking red thing appeared on his arm. His left arm was now equipped with a red gauntlet with 2 green jewels. "Aye, it's your sacred G-gear," were the first words of Rias. Kiba and Akino. Kaneko only widened her eyes in shock. "The heavenly dragon. So you're the red dragon emperor of this generation." The monster giggled a little and concentrated all his purple aura on his right fist. Issei, who saw that, began to narrow his eyes. "So, you want to end it in one hit? Be careful, partner. If you let yourself hit by his punch, you will receive some amount of damage." "You're right. He isn't an SS-class stray for nothing. He is strong." Then a large sound echoed through the location. Boost, 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 boost. Alongside the loud echo who came from the boy's gauntlet, Issei's red tauki raised both in size and thickness. "It should be enough if I use half of it in the punch and the other half on defense." When Issei thought about that, the boy concentrated a huge amount of tauki on his left arm while his entire body is still covered in the same tauki, but the density of it lowered considerably. "Let's end this." "I agree. Show me the fist of a heavenly dragon." Whoosh! Both warriors rushed to one another head-on. Issei glowed red while Balmois glowed purple. When they made contact, a pillar of purple and red aura was made, and it formed a large pillar of aura who pierced through the night clouds to show the starry heavens. Just before that pillar of aura was formed, it was for a fraction of a second, but it was visible that Issei aimed his left fist to the monster's heart while the monster's right fist was aimed to Issei's gut. Done. A loud sound were made and a large crater formed beneath them, and a blinding light were emitted from the two. When it faded, what greeted the sight of Rias, Akino, Asia, Kaneko, and Kiba was Issei with his tattered school uniform, coughing a little of blood, and the monster, Balmois Marchosius, with Issei's arm a little at the right of his heart, but it was visible that the monster was coughing a lot more blood than Issei. "You really are tough," the boy said while showing a maniacal grin. "Cough, the one who's tough here. Cough is you." "Receiving my punch fully powered, and cough only receive that amount of damage." "Cough," the monster replied while coughing a large amount of blood. "How you dodging my fatal blow on your heart at the last second is something really surprising, I'd say." "Looks like, cough, it's my loss. You're strong heavenly dragon, or should I call you Kitsune? Either way, you're strong, boy. It's certainly your loss, but not necessarily your end." "Huh, I will let you live judging by your story. Why did you stray?" "All right, cough, it doesn't seem like I have the choice then." "Listen, it's simple. I strayed because my former is a fool and a weak man," stating proudly his disgust against low and middle classes devils, not to mention the way he treated me because I'm one of the last descendants of S-House. "Did you kill him?" "No, I didn't kill anyone from his family nor his peerage. I'm not that pathetic." Then, when he said that, Issei pulled his hand out of Balmois' chest and warm blue light appeared on both of his hands after he dismissed his Longinus. He placed both of his hands on the monster's wound, who gradually stopped bleeding. "Balmois Marchosius, I will let you leave. You can go and treat your wound alone. I already did the first aids. It's not fatal since I missed your heart." The monster looked towards his wound, then to Issei's yellow eyes before he smirked and nodded, and rushed towards the exit of the manufacturing area and escaped through the forest just near. The group of devils were shocked at the sudden decision Issei made. No one tried to speak until Asia ran towards Issei. The green light coming from her sacred gear intensified while heading towards the boy, and her eyes were watery. "Issei-san, Issei-san, are you all right?" Asia worriedly said, and began to heal Issei's injuries, even if it wasn't something really alarming. "I'm all right, Asia. This is not something that can be fatal for me." The boy tried to reconfort her while patting her head gently, and smiled warmly when he noticed that Asia was trembling a little. "Hey Asia, I'm really all right, don't worry. And next time, Issei-san, don't do something so reckless again, please." "Heh, I'll try." When Issei grinned and Asia smiled, Rias coughed and said, "Why did you let him flee?" she asked Issei angrily. "Not your business, Gremory. You should thank me that I saved your ass on this one." "Probably, but that is dangerous even for Huma." "He is not dangerous. You heard what he said about his master." "Why, yeah. Then you certainly should know why he strayed, and by the way, the devil who contacted you to the clubroom really sent you here." "And no, he just said that I shouldn't approach him because he already sent 2 peerages to stop him. You know that you risked the life of Asia and all your peerage." When Rias heard that, she began to sob uncontrollably because she knew that all her cute servants, her cherished family, could have been killed because of her idiotic decision and her pride. "I only wanted to prove my worth as the ruler of this territory." "Well, you certainly proved your worth then, and your sacred gear." Akino entered their conversation. "Yes, I want you to not report my existence to the higher-ups of the underworld." "And why I have to do that?" Rias asked, displeased. "First, because I saved you and your peerage just 5 seconds ago, and second, I didn't kill you the first time we fought, and third, because I can kill you right now. What do you think?" "There are enough reasons." "And no. I mean yes, I will not report it." Alright then, good night. I guess Issei bowed slightly and headed towards his place. Issei-san, I will rest with Butchu-san and everyone. I will continue to treat their wounds. Ah, okay then, be careful when you come back, Asia. I will escort her Hayato-kun. Don't worry about that, Kiba gladly said to receive a grateful nod from Issei, who leave this area. Okay then, we're going back to the clubroom, Ria said while summoning a red magic circle where everyone regrouped in the center before they teleport. Cult Research Clubroom. After everyone was healed by Asia, Akino and Rias were taking a bath together inside the bathroom. Yes, there's a bathroom in a clubroom. Well, it was certainly odd. Asia and Kiba were seating on the couch. Facing them was Kaneko, still eating snacks at the middle of the night. Minutes later, both One-sama exited the bath. Both were wearing only towels, and unexpectedly Kiba didn't send a glance towards them. Well, judging that every guy on this school would have given an arm to see the two great One-sama on this state, Kiba on the other hand didn't show any emotion of delight when both showed their flawless bodies only covered by such a thin cloth. Oh, nothing is better than having a good bath after what happened. Fufufu, you're right, Butchu. After that, both quickly changed to their school uniforms using their respective demonic power. Rias took her usual seat behind the desk. Akino sat beside Kaneko before they spoke. Now, I certainly have some explanations to give, I guess. Her peerage looked intently at her. I'm sorry for being so inconsiderate. I risked each of your life because of my pride as a devil. I'm such a king. You don't have to apologize, Butchu, Kaneko said with her usual stoic expression. Kiba followed after her. She's right. Each one of us was in an unstable state. After all, we could have abandoned when we sensed his strong aura. We were all in an unstable state due to Issei-kun, Akino said. The whole peerage looked down hearing the words of their then Rias spoke. Asia, I know you're new here and you're really attached to Issei-kun, but please, don't report him about the talks we held here, okay? Hi, Butchu-san. Asia sadly answered, because she knew that she had to be devoted towards her master. After all, she gave her a second chance in life. Good, then, did you know about his sacred gear before? Yes, I knew about it since Sunday. All the devils widened their eyes in shock at the sudden confession of the former nun. Why didn't you told us? Akino asked her. You never asked me and Issei-sen wouldn't approved. Do you know other things about him? And no, I promise, I know only much as you, Asia said in a trembling voice. Don't worry, Asia, we will not force you. I will never harm you because you're a part of my precious family now and I only want to know if Issei-kun is a threat towards us. We spoke about it this morning. He said that he holds a grudge towards you, Butchu-san, because you tried to kill him. Is it true? Asia asked innocently, but the whole peerage looked towards their feet in shame. Why, yes. Then I think he isn't a threat towards Butchu-san. Why are you so sure? Kiba curiously asked. Because he didn't kill any of you even if you tried to kill him, just like Baonwa-san today. He tried to kill him, but in the end Issei-san didn't kill him. He is very kind. While Asia expressed her feeling towards the kitsune, the whole peerage widened slightly their eyes and nodded sheepishly, because she was right. Issei didn't injure severely nor killed any one of their group. Butchu, I agree with Asia-senpai. Issei-senpai is definitely not a threat towards us. I agree with Kaneko-chan, we mustn't doubt him. Rias, don't report him to the higher up, but I guess you could report his existence towards Surzech-sama. Who's Surzech-sama? Asia asked, visibly confused. He is my brother and the Mao, Lucifer. Rias sighed when she answered. Asia widened her eyes in shock before she was eased up by Kiba's words. Don't worry, Asia-san. Surzech-sama is very kind and isn't the original Lucifer, as probably Hayato-kun told you already. The original one has already died in the Great War. Asia could only nod to Kiba's explanation. Then, we can call it a day. Asia, you can leave, but please come here tomorrow afternoon. Hi, Butchu-san. Good night, everyone. When she stood up, Kiba done the same and said to his Butchu, I'll walk Asia-san home as I promised Hayato-kun. Please do. Issei's apartment. The Red Dragon Emperor entered his house and sighed heavily. It was just after his fight against the Descendant. I want to sleep so badly. Partner, you didn't have to heal his wound, as you probably know that medical jutsu is very draining. You're right, but I couldn't have Asia do it because she could have been took as a responsible for helping A. I will not deny it, but I assure you, I still haven't fallen in love, you perverted dragon. Issei said that while dressing himself with his black yukata. Idiot. I agree, Baonwa is pretty good. I could have eliminated him without you, D-Drag. It's just that I didn't want to cause much ruckus in the town, and because of that I ended it in one attack. When the Heavenly Dragon asked his host, the boy laid on his bed and sighed heavily. I'm sure she will. Having the Red Dragon Emperor on your territory is a serious menace. Aha, I'm such eager to see how your mother will kick your ass after she knew that you are known by the underworld so soon. When D-Drag said that while laughing, Issei began to tremble a little and said with a troubled voice, I am going to sleep. Aha, she will kick your ass so badly, PFFD. Yeah, I'm going to sleep too. Good night, partner. Night, D-Drag. As Issei closed his eyes and let himself fall down in a deep slumber. Issei was accompanied by what appears to be his mom and Yasaka. The three of them had 9 tails and fox ears as they walked towards a very dense forest. Until they arrived towards to a magnificent traditional Japanese house. It resembles a lot the main sanctuary situated in the majority of Kyoto's Shinto shrines. Yasaka took the lead of the group and moved in front of the door before knocking 3 times. Knock, knock, knock. The group waited around 2 long minutes before the door opened. Thud. What accompanied the sound made by the doors opening was the sight of a small monkey. He was really tiny and his fur gave off a golden brilliance. His skin was black and his face was all wrinkled. He was carrying a staff-like weapon and was smoking a pipe. "Ah, Yasaka-sama, it's been a long time, how have you been?" "Pretty good, thank you. I came today for a certain reason." The old man's eyes looked towards what was behind Yasaka and noticed two other foxes, Issei and his mother. The old monkey widened his eyes and said, "Oh my, if it isn't the war princess, and accompanied by who?" A playful tone held by the old monkey made Issei hide behind his mother, who chuckled at the cute attitude of her Issei. "Greetings, Wukong-sama, it's been a while." "It sure is, and I assume that the boy is your son." "Yes, come on Issei, introduce yourself," the little fox said with shyly. "I'm Hayadu Issei, nice to meet you monkey-sama." Nice to meet you too, so. Yasaka-sama, why did you visited this old man today? In fact, I want you to teach Eyes the senjutsu basics." Not that I don't want to do it, but why don't his mother teach him after all? She's not a good teacher, Wukong-sama. I got it. When the old monkey said that, he looked towards Issei and urged him to approach. "Come on, little one." Issei moved towards the great victorious fighting Buddha cautiously. "I will do nothing to you. Come." When he approached him slowly, he suddenly tapped him with his red staff quickly exactly where his heart was. Then light blue kai was covering him. It's warm. Issei visibly amazed at this sight. He looked all around his body to see the light blue thin aura covering him. Like mother, like son, I'd say. When Son Wukong said that joyfully, Yasaka giggled a little and Issei's mom wore a proud smile. Suddenly, a red gauntlet appeared on Issei's left arm. The boy was speechless like the others. Son Wukong piped fall from his hands while the two female foxes were frozen at this sight. In the other hand, Issei. What's that? My arm. Okay, Sama helped. The boy was terrorized at the sight of his left arm and began to tap the gauntlet to the ground. Hey brat, stop that. Hey shitty brat. When the voice raised in sound, Issei, still shivering, stopped hitting the gauntlet to the ground and looked towards his left arm and said with a trembling voice, "Gigi, good morning. Who's there?" "Sai, good morning. I'm D-Drag, the Red Dragon Emperor, and you're my host." "Oh, a dragon. That's so cool." "Yeah, and as I said, I'm reciting in you. Close your eyes and you'll see me." Issei done just like the voice coming of his gauntlet said and immediately closed his yellow-colored eyes, and what greeted him was something really unexpected to 4-year-old boy. A red gigantic figure appeared surrounded by yellow-orange flames. It was a large red western dragon with pure green-colored eyes who was just in front of Issei. Why, the small boy was beyond amazed when he saw that dragon. He then opened his eyes before his mother rushed to him and tackling him in a hug. "Eyes, what is it, Ake-sama?" Issei said, visibly confused. "I'm sorry." His mother apologized for something. Issei sent her a questioning look. He didn't know what she meant. "What for?" he asked. His mother remained silent, then a warm hand landed on Issei's small shoulder. It was Yasaka. "Issei, don't worry. Can you show me your left hand?" "So it's true. You're the host of a heavenly dragon." Yasaka said that with serious eyes. His mother stood up and clasped Issei's hand, then walked towards the first-generation Son Wukong, who was still speechless. "Son Wukong-sama, I'm sorry, but you will teach him more than the basics." The monkey slowly nodded and picked up his pipe from the wooden floor and muttered under his breath, "Like father, like son too. Nyaka-sama, I saw a big red dragon inside my head. He was really tall. Yeah, he's strong too, you know." He said that he was D-Drag-san. "I'm sure Kanu will be happy to meet him." About that, can you keep the existence of D-Drag-san a secret from everyone?" "It's really important," Yasaka gently said, adding the suffix "san" to D-Drag just like Issei done. "Why, it's really important. Do as Yasaka say." "Got it." "Hi, so Son Wukong-sama, what are you planning to do with Eyes?" Yasaka asked the old man. End of Issei's dream. Issei opened slowly his eyes and noticed that the sun already rose up to the sky. He stood up slowly and sensed that Asia is wake up thanks to the delicious smell who made its way towards his nose. He concluded that she entered the apartment this night without making him wake up. Well, first, the shower, then the breakfast, otherwise Asia will be mad. He walked towards the bathroom, then dressed in his school uniform, he headed at the kitchen. "Morning, Asia." Issei greeted the blonde-haired girl with a warm smile that she immediately returned. "Good morning, Issei-san. You slept well?" "Yeah, pretty well. I hope you didn't come back too late." "No, it's all right, Issei-san. Here your plate." Thanks, Asia. Itadakamasu." Issei immediately attacked his breakfast, much at Asia's happiness. After the divine breakfast Issei got, both of him and Asia headed to school. Then Asia took a piece of paper from her pocket. "Issei-san, I got a list of some ingredients I need. This afternoon I will go to the occult research club room, so can you get them for me?" "Of course, count on it." By the way, Issei-san, do you have the power to heal too?" "You mean because of yesterday?" "Yeah, it's a senjutsu technique which I use to heal wounds, but I cannot heal mortal wounds or organs at your level." "Even so, Issei-san, it's amazing that you can heal too. It's technique which use a lot of stamina, even for me." As both walked towards school, speaking about this and that, they crossed the school gate and managed to get quickly in their class. When the afternoon class ended, both Asia and Issei took their bags and exited the school building. "Asia, I will go and get what you need. I will come back here to walk you home, all right?" "Hi." The couple separated. Issei walked towards the supermarket and Asia headed towards the old school building. "Good afternoon, Asia." "Welcome, Asia-chan. Do you want a cup of tea?" Good afternoon, Butchu-san. Yes, thank you, Akino-san. Asia sat on the couch. Beside her, Kaneko was eating a chocolate bar. Akino poured a cup of tea to Asia that she gladly took before Kiba Yuuto entered inside the clubroom. Sorry, cleaning duty. It's alright, Yuuto, come in. Kiba took a seat in front of Asia and began to drink the tea already poured by Akino. So Issei-kun didn't came with you today? Rias asked. No, Issei-san headed to the store. He will come back shortly. And does Butchu-san need him? No, it's alright. It's just that he is usually always with you. Yufufu, Issei-kun really is acting like a siskin towards Asia-chan. Akino's playful voice caused Asia to redden a little. As the talk between all of them continued, an orange magic circle appeared on the floor, cutting all the discussions between them. Fire burst out from the magic circle and a silhouette appeared on the center. From the pool of flames, a handsome man with blonde hair and blue eyes, a slim and tall figure accompanied with a prideful grin on his face. Phew, it's been a while since I came to this pathetic human realm. Waving his hand, the fire vanished. The boy in question looked around until he found Rias, then smiled. Oh, Rias, I came for you. How have you been? Asia turned her eyes to see her master, but for the first time, Rias showed an expression of pure hate. Even the former nun who didn't know her until 3 or 4 days ago, she noticed that her current facial expression held great hate. Why did you came for Razor? Just when she finished her sentence, another magic circle appeared on the room, and it was a red one just like the one Rias always uses. A silhouette appeared. It was a maid, with a nice figure, slim and flawless. Her body was perfect in every way. She has gray hair and gray eyes, and she was wearing a French-made outfit that really looked good on her, but what was really odd about her is the strong pressure she gave. Rias Aja-sama, today you'll visit the hall where the venue will be held, and you must accompany Razor-sama for this matter. Grafia, it was supposed to be next month. Why did they speed it up? Butchu-san, who's that man? You didn't even introduce me to your servants. Oh my, cruel as always that Rias. They don't have to know about something like this. Well, I guess I have to introduce myself then. I'm Razor Phoenix, third son of the Phoenix House, one of the remaining pillars, and I'm Rias' Gremory fiancé. Razor's declaration caught off guard Asia. Kiba and Kaneko, who did nothing expect, widened their eyes. It will be 12,540 yen. Here Issei took the money from his pocket and handed it to the cashier. The boy exited the store and walked towards school to pick up Asia. I'm looking forward to what Asia will prepare for dinner with all this hee-hee. The Occult Research Clubroom. The tea made by Rias is sure is delicious, the blonde-haired guy. Akino nodded and showed a fake smile. Rather than a fake smile, it would be more correct to say that she was containing her disgust she felt towards the men in question. Razor didn't notice the obvious feelings of Akino. He was seating just beside Rias on the couch while holding her shoulder. The crimson-haired girl kept shaking his hands off, but he continued caressing her hair and touching her shoulders and hands. Razor, stop. I already said that I will not marry you, Rias angrily said. Her cold voice seemed new to Asia, who kept staring at her angry master. Yeah, I heard that the situation of your household is quite serious since your brother already left. Do you want the extinction of the line? That's not your problem, Razor. I'm the next heir of my house, and it's my absolute right to choose myself who will marry me. My brother and my parents don't have the right to impose me someone like you. The last sentence made Razor frown a little before he said, Don't be stubborn. You already know the severe situation our race is facing. We can't allow pure-blooded devils to go extinct. Unlike you, my house is already in a safe situation thanks to my older brothers. It's your duty as the next heiress and as a pure-blooded devil to marry me. It's for the future of the devils. I'm not going to let my house perish. Great. Now let's go to Razor's joy was interrupted by Rias. But I will not marry you, Razor. From Razor's body, fire began to appear. He is pissed. Rias, you know, as a pure-blood devil and as a man who got the name of the House of Phoenix behind him, I can't let this title and name be tarnished. I already made a great effort to come to this pathetic human world. The fire and the wind of this world is filthy for someone like me who rules over those two elements. I can't stand it. Flames were summoned around Razor. Awkwardly, it didn't burn him or injured him, to be expected from a phoenix. I will take you to the underworld with me, even if I have to burn all of your servants. Razor suddenly gave off a strong pressure from his body, and his killing intent was directly aimed at Ria's servants. Kiba and Kaneko prepared to fight. Akino was watching silently while Asia was trembling a little. I will not let you touch my servants. The girl covered herself in a crimson aura. Razor didn't even care, summoned an enormous fireball that he quickly launched towards her servants. Kiba and Kaneko quickly evaded the fireball, but only Asia remained. She was frozen, just before Grafia managed to run towards the blonde-haired girl in order to rescue her for the imminent impact. Bam! The front door of the clubroom suddenly destroyed, and something or someone, it was a red light, it launched itself towards Asia and took the fireball head-on. When Razor's fire made contact with the red thing, it instantly vanished. All the devils widened their eyes at what happened. Then what greeted everyone's sight was Issei Hayato with ... ash on his hands. Asia, Sai, why are you always on danger? Ah, by the way, sorry, what I brought turned into ash thanks to that shithead, he said while pointing towards Razor and looking towards the food, who turned into ash thanks to that phoenix. Who are you? And how dare you insult me? I'm the Great Phoenix. Razor was interrupted by a sudden punch on his face. Issei punched him with his hand covered by a very thin amount of red tauki. Crash. Razor was sent a couple of meters back and crashed in the wall, his broken nose suddenly covered in flames before it magically healed. Shut it a little, Yakitori, I didn't finish speaking. Yakitori. I will kill you, lowlife. And there we go, Issei lazily said and made sure that Asia was behind him. He cracked his knuckles, but the silver-haired maid interrupted their little exchange. Stop it, both of you. Lord Phoenix and Lord Gremory already prepared for this eventuality. Wait, who are you? Issei asked curiously. Sorry for being rude, Angraphia, head maid of the House of Lucifers. That explains her aura. Issei noticed. Well, nice to meet you, I'm Hayatu Issei, but sorry, I have to kill that little bird. I hope you don't mind, Issei said that while walking towards Razor, who stood up angrily and covered himself in flames. I will not let this happen, not here in the human world and in my presence, since I'm the one who holds the responsibility of every devil here. Graphia said that while touching lightly Issei on his shoulder, and she emitted a bit of her aura in order to scare Issei, but oddly, Issei didn't even flinch or showed any emotion that looked like or similar to fear, much at the surprise of Lucifers. Then, I want to have a match against that guy. Hey Yakitori, don't you want to fight me? Bring it, human. Issei giggled a little and turned towards Graphia, waiting to her answer. What is the bet? Simple. If I beat him, then he will do what he wants with me, and if I beat him. Asia tugged Issei's sleeve timidly and said quietly, only enough for him to hear. Issei-san, if you beat him, then Butchu-san engagement with him will be cancelled. It's all right with you. The boy sighed and declared while scratching the back of his head sheepishly. Yeah, then if I won, Redhead will not be forced to marry him. It's all right with you, Yakitori. The girl in question widened her eyes in astonishment hearing Issei. There's absolutely no way that I will lose to someone like you. If I won, I will take you as my personal slave, you lowlife. And there's no way that you will win against me. I have a full set. When the blonde-haired looking bad boy said that, a large yellow magic circle appeared on the room, revealing 15 different silhouettes surrounded by a pool of fire. After the fire vanished, what greeted the sight of Issei was 15 girls. The voice of Deedrag echoed on his mind. Shut it a little, Deedrag. I think it's unfair that you have to use your peerage to fight against a single human, Razor-sama, Graphia said, a little confused at how things escalated. A 16 versus 1 isn't really a fair fight. Nah, it's alright, maid-san, I will manage, Issei said that casually like it was nothing. Graphia widened her eyes and thought about the report Riaz gave her yesterday. Maybe he is the Securiute that Riaz was talking about yesterday. She questioned herself. Then, please wait for a minute, I'll call Surzech-sama to tell him about that. A red small communication magic circle with the Gremory pattern appeared in Graphia's ear to report about what happened today to her. After several minutes of conversations, the magic circle disappeared and Graphia said, Surzech-sama approves. He said that the fight opposing Issei Hayatu and Razor Phoenix along with his peerage will be held in the same rating game arena that will held Riaz Gremory and Razor Phoenix battle. A fight with my Riaz. Why, since she's against the idea of marrying Razor-sama, both Lord Phoenix and Lord Gremory agreed that a rating game will be held between you two in order to decide about the marriage outcome. Well, if Issei-sama win the first game, then you'll not need to fight Riaz Aja-sama. Aha, I will have to fight a single human with my full peerage, then I will have to fight Riaz and her incomplete set, not to mention she don't have any experience unlike me. That's a piece of cake. Hey Riaz and the human, I will offer both of you 2 weeks in order to train. Are you giving me a chance? The crimson-haired princess angrily said. Of course, just look behind you. It's not without this set of pathetic reincarnated devils that you'll be able to attain someone like me, so use those 10 days to train in order to not lose too quickly, okay? And for the human, I don't even know why you have to train. I'll end you now, Mira, go. Razor ordered his servant. The girl had exactly the same build as Kaneko Taoju, Riaz's rook, and was carrying a staff or a stick that martial fighters often use. She made her stance after swinging the stick around. She ran towards Issei, who only looked at her with the corner of the eye. Then, crack! When she swung the stick and tried to hit Issei's in the stomach, Issei quickly put a hand on her weapon before he tightened a little his grip, resulting in breaking him. He patted the girl's head and said to Razor, if that's all you got, I think that it's you who needs to train, you know. Hearing Issei's teasing tone, Razor huffed in pride and turned back. Nira is my weakest servant, don't get too cocky, you will die in our match, I promise. Looking forward to it, useless Yakitori. Like that, the peerage of Razor disappeared in the flames summoned by using their orange magic circle. Issei turned his head back to Asia and said, don't worry Asia, I will definitely kick his ass, but looks like I'll have to return to the store. That guy burned all what I already bought before Asia spoke, Riaz said. Issei-kun, you didn't have to. Stop right there. I didn't and still don't give a shit about you, Gremory. That guy attacked Asia and he will pay for it, that's all. Will you help training us? Akino said curiously. Of course not, you will not have to fight. You're a little too confident, Kiba noticed. Well, I have the right to do so, Bishonen-kun, don't you think? Kiba groaned a little at the way Issei playfully answered him. Even so you say that, we will train. I'm not confident that you'll win. I'm sure you'll put a good fight, but Razor already have a full set and he have some experience in the rating games. Do what you want. Hey Asia, let's go to the store. Hi Issei-san. It's alright Butchu-san. Her master only nodded before Issei and Asia exited the clubroom. It's certainly an unexpected development, Rias said. We will tell him that tomorrow we'll take Asia-chan to train too. Akino informed Rias. Rias Ajo-sama, I have to go back to Surzech-sama's side. We will see each other at the final battle. Grafia said that before she disappeared in a red blinding light. So he is the Red Dragon Emperor of this generation. A man with long crimson hair said that he was looking like a male version of Rias Gremory with noble attire. Yes, Surzech-sama, judging by the small draconic aura he gave off, he is a kitsune, a nine-tailed fox yokai, and it was Rias Ajo-sama who gave me this information. It seems like he already awakened his Longinus and refused to be part of her peerage, Grafia solemnly said. She certainly pissed him off. I know how greedy my little sister can be. So what will we do with him from now on? Nothing. We will wait until the fight against Razor and I will have a talk afterwards with him, personally. I didn't ever thought that Rias Ajo-sama will attract even the Red Dragon Emperor. Well, to be honest, I'm certain she isn't the one who attracted him, but the fact he already awake is really surprising. I'll have to talk with the Yokai faction about that boy when I'll have the chance. I will head towards the Gremory Castle to make the last adjustments for the raiding game. See you tonight then, Grafia the man said before he returns into the pool of papers that awaited him. Issei talking to Ddraig on his mind. Thought. Ddraig's talking to Issei on his mind. Sacred Gear talking. Ddraig or Albion talking out loud. Location. I do not own High School DxD or any of its elements. Issei was seating on his couch. Night fell since a little while ago. After dinner, Asia, who was tired by all the events of the last couple days, is already on her bed. The kitsune was watching TV and in the same time he was thinking about what happened today. His bet with the Phoenix. Man, I regret that my wish was to free that redhead from her forced engagement. I should really have wished for something else. He said to himself while sighing heavily, regretting that he will fight for the girl that tried to take his life and enslave him. I know, but what the hell crossed my mind when I said that? Saving that Gremory slew when he was about to curse the girl, Asia appeared suddenly from the corner of the door, a pillow in her hands. Ah, Asia, you need something. I am sorry, Issei-san, that you have to fight for Butchu-san. I shouldn't have omitted the idea of breaking the engagement between her and Razor-san using that bet. She heard me from her room. Don't worry about it, Asia. It's no biggie. I just think that it's a waste. A waste? Yeah, I don't want to save her and I should have wished something else. Why, Issei-san? I know that she tried to kill Issei-san, but Issei interrupted her by walking to her side and patting softly her head. Don't think about it too much, Asia. It's nothing really, after saying that the boy yawned loudly and headed towards his room. The morning period just ended and both Asia and Issei grabbed their bento from their respective bag. Asia moved to the desk of the other girls while Issei ate alone on his desk. While he was digging happily into his lunch prepared by the skilled Asia, two silhouettes made their way towards Issei. Asia-chan prepared it for you, Hayaodu. You really are one lucky bastard. Having Asia-chan prepare your bento every day is unfair. Why is she living with you? I'm sure that leaving with such a cute and kind girl is a bliss. You bastard don't deserve any of this at all. Two guys, visibly his classmates. Those two were the infamous of Kyo Academy. The bald-headed one is Matsuda while the other one who wears thick glasses is Madohama. They were growing in jealousy every day it seems. While Issei's situation was practically out of their reach, the nine-tailed fox just ignored those two. Just like he did every day since he began to attend this school, and continued to eat quietly his lunch until the perverted duo simultaneously hit the desk of Issei with their hands, making him stop eating. Guys, can you let me eat peacefully? I'm not in that relationship with Asia. I treat her just as my sister. Bullshit. We're sure that you're doing wired stuff to her every day, damn you bastard. Matsuda's and Madohama's outburst attracted all the attention of their fellow class comrades. Then Asia moved towards Issei in worry while she was accompanied by two girls of the kendo club, a pink-haired one, called Katis, and the other brown-haired one is Murayama. Issei and those two became acquaintances after his no little first physical interaction with the perverted duo. Perverts, stop troubling Issei-kun. You're disgusting, disturbing Issei-kun like that. We are not troubling him. Yeah, we are just trying to get answers. Answers about what? Asia innocently asked, making those two perverts grin. Just when they were about to answer the former nun's question, Issei suddenly stood up after he put his finished bento box on his bag. He said to Asia, Asia, I'm going to take a walk. Want to come with me? Of course. Asia's happy answer made Issei smile before he took his hand and both exited the classroom heading towards the courtyard, leaving the two perverts alone with the two kendo club girls who were already a little pissed off seeing the attitude that those lecherous beasts had towards the quiet Issei. Immediately when Issei and Asia exited the school building, they were approached by one of their kuhai, Kaneko Taoju. Good morning, senpais. Good morning to you too, Kaneko-chan. But you sent me to tell you that Asia-senpai and Issei-senpai have to come into the clubroom. Issei narrowed his eyes a little and said, Why, we will go training for the next 10 days it seems, Kaneko answered with her usual stoic expression. Issei gave only a small nod before the petite girl began to walk towards the old school building while Issei and Asia were following her lead. The three of them entered the inside of the occult research clubroom and found that there's already Akino and Kiba in there, while Rias Gremory was seating in her usual spot behind the desk. Good morning, you two, the crimson-haired girl greeted casually the two second years. Good morning, Butchu-san. Asia returned the greetings. Issei, on the other hand, was narrowing a little his eyebrows. Remory, do you mind jumping straight to the conclusion? BGMI, yeah, Asia will be training with us for the next 10 days, so I just wanted to tell you that she will be with us for that period of time. We will train in a mountain. Yeah, then take care of her, Issei answered normally. Rias widened a little her eyes and said, you don't want to join us for? No, I will not interfere with your training and you can take Asia with you, just don't try to push her out of her own limits. Oh okay, I will not. By the way, I want to have an audience with Lucifer-sama, and if it's not possible, I just want to have a small talk with him too. What should I do? The four devils minus Asia were lost their composure at the sudden really odd demand of the kitsune. What? I don't have the right to do so. Issei-kun, devils and yokai aren't in peace. I know that. Can I talk to him as one of the combatants in the raiding game because I want to change the bet? Rias widened her eyes a little and asked, why do you want to change it? Well, I don't want to interfere with your engagement, and overall I want to take some benefits for myself, so I will tell him to change the bet. I already decided what I wanted. Rias twitched her eyes in annoyance and said in an angry voice, why do you want to change the bet so suddenly? It's definitely not yabuousness. Wait, don't tell me you're not confident in beating him in your own. Issei asked with a large grin on his face, annoying furthermore Rias. It's not that, it's just. She tried to argue, but she knew that it was true. She thought of Issei as a possible chance to win without even fighting. Then enough questions. I want to talk with him, or at least to have someone to transmit him my message. I will tell Grafia to come tomorrow. Just be sure to be here around lunchtime, Rias concluded in a troubled tone. Then, thanks and good luck. The fox silently exited the clubroom, while Asia followed him immediately after. She bowed respectfully. After that, Rias sighed heavily and mumbled to herself in a confused tone. What's his problem? Akino turned to Rias and said, Butchu, you will tell Grafia-sama about this. Yeah, it's his right to change his bet after all, and since it's only I-sama that approved. We have to train really hard these next 10 days, or we wouldn't even stand a chance against his full set, Rias admitted. Both Akino and Rias remained quiet after that, while Kiba was putting a hard expression, certainly because he knew that he'd have to admit the difficult situation they're in. After Issei returned home and separated with Asia, who was going to heading out the leaflets to humans as a part of her now devil job. Laying peacefully on his bed, his 9 foxtails already out, he closed his eyes for a moment before drifting to sleep. A large green Asian dragon appeared from nowhere and flying on the sky. On the ground stuck in a large crater appeared a brown-haired boy with several injuries and visibly exhausted. He looked like he was around 11 or 12 years, and was wearing on his left hand a strange-looking red gauntlet, certainly the boosted gear. Hoi, eyes. Wake up. We are still not done yet. Let's stop for 2. Today. Nah, that old monkey said that we will stop after 2 hours at least. Keep it up. The dragon charged towards the boy, who suddenly stood up from the crater and began to wear his blue tauki. A sudden sound echoed from nowhere. In particular, Issei narrowed his eyes and made a battle stance, waiting to the attack of the huge eastern dragon. Try to withstand this eyes. Green aura covered all his body and began to gather on his mouth before a large sphere of green and pure energy was thrown towards the kid, and the sound echoed another time. Issei gathered all his blue tauki on his 2 palms. He closed his eyes and put his 2 hands in front of him. The enormous energy sphere who came from the dragon's mouth made contact with Issei before a loud sound was heard. When the smoke vanished, what greeted the sight of Yulong? Yes, that green eastern dragon was Yulong, the mischievous dragon, one of the 5 dragon kings. Yeah, what greeted Yulong's sight was Issei in one knee, breathing heavily with a lot more injuries than before the attack, and smoke can be seen emitting from his body like he was burnt by something. He was panting heavily, but he was smiling. You have pant to do pant better next pant time. The red eyes of the spectacular green dragon were widened a little. On his face a large grin was visible. Seems like I have to push you to the very edge, huh? What pant do you mean? Do your best, eyes. When he said that cheerfully, the dragon rushed directly towards the boy, who was still in one knee. Crack. The dragon punched the boy and sent him towards a nearby mountain, then crashed into it. The boy couldn't do anything, not in that state. Drip, drip, drip. Blood was dripping from Issei's nose and was coughing blood. WWHY. He muttered only this before he got punched again by Yulong's very large fist. A single punch covered all Issei's body. Cough, cough, cough. Eyes, defend yourself. Do you really want to die? Cough. The kid was still coughing a lot of blood. He really looked like the boy crossed his own limits a while ago. Crack. Yulong punched Issei again. The poor kid, who was still stuck on the mountain, was pushed back by the punch to the point of traversing literally the mountain. Cough, cough. Issei coughed blood again, tainting the whole ground red. The boy was laying on the ground motionless. Yulong approached him and said, "That's all you've got, eyes? Hey, that's pathetic. Compared to your mother, you have a lu-woo-woon way to go. Cough, knock it out, cough. And you want to protect her. Behaha. Sorry, but that's not the right way to do it, bro. I said cough, shut up, cough, you nai. Hey, and that girl Kanu, if I remember right. It's not like by being so weak that you will be able to. I said shut up, Yulong. Welsh dragon balance breaker. A red armor materialized itself and covered all Issei's body. The helmet's shape looks like a dragon, and a big green jowl was on the center of the armor. Just when D-Drag was going to what it seemed to congratulate his partner, Issei rushed towards Yulong head-on. Oi, oi, eyes, stop. That's what I wanted. To the Asian dragon tried to stop Issei's charge, but boost, 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 boost. The voice of D-Drag echoed endlessly from the boosted gear, and suddenly, Issei's blue tauki turned red and grew both in size and thickness. Issei covered unconsciously his right fist with an unbelievable amount of tauki before he crashed the fist of his in Yulong's face. The dragon was sent back by the force of the punch and crashed in the forest nearby. Issei, on the other hand, fainted suddenly after his armor disappeared. Then from nowhere, an old monkey, Sun Wukong, appeared just near the unconscious kid. Red Tauki, huh? It seems that you're more dragon than I thought, young eyes. He lifted the body of the kid and dragged him towards his house, who was just nearby. In the other hand, looks like Yulong will not wake up anytime soon, huh? It will serve him as a lesson about the difference between a dragon king and a heavenly dragon. Nice one, eyes. End of Issei's dream. Issei-san, Issei-san. Issei opened lazily his yellow eyes only to see Asia trying to waking him. Ah, Asia, you slept all this afternoon, Issei-san. I just ended my devil job and dinner will be prepared shortly. Thanks, Asia. I hope you're doing well as a devil. When Issei said that while patting gently Asia's head, the latter just put up a bitter smile and asked, "Is it true that Issei-san will not come with us? I mean to the training camp prepared by Butchu-san." Ah, I'm really sorry about that, Asia, but yeah, I will not join you on this one. But don't worry, I'm sure you will progress quickly. Hi, I'll do my best. After Asia's energetic response, Issei sighed in relief and headed towards the living room. The next day, Asia gathered all the things that she will need during that training camp, and a red magic circle appeared on the floor. It's time, Issei-san. I will teleport into the club room, and from there we will teleport to the mountains. Good luck, Asia, and don't push yourself too hard. Issei waved his hand to Asia, who nodded strongly in motivation before Asia disappeared in a blinding red light. Issei sighed heavily at the departure of the former nun and said to himself, "Well, this place will feel a little empty without her presence. Growing attached are we?" D-Drag voice echoed on his mind. Shut up, D-Drag sigh. Like that, Issei continued his morning school quietly until lunchtime arrived. After devouring the bento Asia prepared for him beforehand, he headed towards the occult research club room and felt the presence of Graphia, the so-called head mate of the clan and Lucifers. Knock knock. Issei knocked at the door, and a silver-haired woman with matching eyes wearing a French maid outfit opened the door. It was Graphia. Good to see you again. Hayatu Issei-sama, she greeted him in an adequate manner. On the other hand, Issei didn't even bother to do the same. Instead, he asked her directly. Yeah, me too. So where's Lucifer? I'm sorry to announce that he don't have time in order to come to the human world. So as his I will report him your words, Graphia declared that solemnly. In the other side, Issei sighed heavily, certainly expecting that answer. Okay, so, as you already know, I made a bet with Razor Phoenix, and I regret what I proposed to him if I won. So in replacement for the freedom of Ria's Gremory, I want all the territories he will inherit as the direct pure-blooded descendant of the house. Graphia widened her eyes at the sudden proposal of Hayatu Issei. What? I don't think he would accept so easily. It's not to insult you, Hayatu Issei-sama, but your life, I mean by that, as a slave or dead. Your life cannot equal the worth of the Pisesians, one of a high-class devils produced by the House of Possess, and by that, I don't think he will accept it. He will accept it. Issei interrupted her and said that with a straight, convinced face. Graphia, speechless, only nodded and made a magic circle appear on the floor before she teleported. I know for fact that the Yakitori's house is rich thanks to their most valuable production, and I mean by that but their territory is filled with precious stones plus of being extremely fertile. It's not that I really need it, but it's better than the freedom of that red-head monster. It's not a secret, D-Drag. There's several books who talked about the underworld and the most important pillars that I have already read when I was in Kyoto. How surprising, Issei said that while grinning, because he knew that his dragon didn't give a bit of his attention towards anyone except for a certain white dragon. After trivial talk with his dragon, a magic circle appeared on the floor revealing the silver-haired maid. A little of confusion can be seen in her usual calm expression. So, Issei asked directly, eager to know about how the negotiation with Razor were gone. I headed towards the Phoenix Mansion and had a talk with Razor-sama, he accepted without hesitation. Hearing that, Issei giggled a little because he knew that Razor would have accepted directly since it doesn't matter to him. I mean, after all, in Razor's mind, his own victory is already sealed. I presume that if I win our duel now then. Graphia continued after him and said, yes, you will be given the parts of the clan territory he has the right to inherit from the current heir and as one of the successors of the house. Good, thanks for. Don't thank me, it's not necessary, but as an advice before I leave, rating games are not only based in strength, remember it very well, Hayatu Issei-sama. Issei showed a puzzled expression for a second before he smiled a bit. Nodding, Graphia summoned a red magic circle and disappeared from the club room, leaving Issei alone on the couch. It seems like it will be fun. I look forward toward our fight, Razor Phoenix. The mountains. A certain group of devil made their way to the top of a mountain. It was Ria's Gremmery's peerage. Ria's Gremmery, Akino, Heimjima, and Asia were walking normally with small luggages, and the three of them were talking about various things and were teaching Asia 2 or 3 things about devils. A little far away from the three, Kiba was walking with a huge luggage in his back and Kaneko Taoju a little behind him. She was walking with a luggage twice the size of the ones of Kiba. Arriving at their destination, what greeted the group was a magnificent wooden mansion. "Butchu-san, we will train here?" Asia asked hesitantly, troubled a little by the beautiful scenery around her. "Yes, Asia, this is one of our family's vacation mansion, so you can make yourself at home, but unfortunately those next 10 days, we will train." A group of devils walked towards the mansion. Everyone put their luggage away and gathered at the living room, and Rias was the one to spoke first. "So I will deliver each one of you the planning of this training camp. First is Yurudo. Yes, you will train your speed and your defense, as you should polish your sword's technique too." Got it, Kiba answered with serious eyes, visibly eager to begin his training. "Now Kaneko, you will train your power, as it's essential for you to improve on this area." "I will do my best." "Then, me and Akino will train our demonic powers by sparring against each other, and you, Asia, you will be introduced to demonic powers by Akino and me, and you will try to improve the efficiency of your healing ability." "Hi, so that's all everyone. I wish every one of you good luck in his respective training." Kyo Town, Kyo Academy. Issei returned to his class after dealing with Graphia. He was at the edge of sleeping when the bell rang, ending the afternoon class. The kitsune lazily stood up from his chair and exited quickly the school. Heading home, he suddenly smiled bitterly. "Walking alone, huh? I forgot how it felt like these last days, it seems," he thought. Well, since Asia moved on with him, he didn't really have any time alone. Well, it didn't bother him in the slightest. He had his dinner in the first-floor restaurant, just like before. Then Issei walked towards his apartment and fell face first in his bed. 10 days later. Everyone gathered around the table situated in the living room. Rias and her peerage trained for 10 consecutive days, and each one of her current improved in their respective areas. Kiba her trained his speed and improved it a little more, but his defense improved greatly thanks to his usual sparrings with Kaneko Taoju Rias's. The petite girl improved both her speed and power these last days, and they along the trained together, improving their control over their demonic powers and teached Asia the basics of it. The latter improved significantly her healing abilities thanks to constantly healing her fellow comrades in their respective spars against each other. And today is the last day in here. Rias decided to make it a day without physical training, but decided to talk with each one of her servants to know more or less how much they improved. The group watched a couple of rating games where Razor Phoenix appeared, and much at their own disappointment, the Phoenix won each one of the games he participated in, but no one flinched or showed any sign of abandon. "So Butchu-san, how can we win against Razor-san if he's immortal and can heal any of the physical damage he receive?" Asia hesitantly asked her, because as they watched the rating games of that Phoenix, everyone saw that Razor is truly immortal and can withstand any physical damage, truly like a true Phoenix. He can reborn from its ashes. To answer that question, I'd say that Razor can be destroyed not physically but mentally. If one can broke his spirit or is willing to fight, he will not be able to heal easily. And physically, what amount of power is necessary to destroy a Phoenix? Kiba asked curiously his master. It depends on the strength of the Phoenix himself. As for Razor-sama, I'd say that at least, your raw power must be equivalent to one possessed by an ultimate class devil. Each of the devils turned their heads to see who answered Kiba question and was greeted by the sight of the silver-haired head maid of the Gremmery's house. "Good morning, Aju-sama and her peerage. I came to escort you to the place where there will be held, if you please." Graphia summoned a large red magic circle just beside her and obligate the peerage to step in. "Graphia, Issei-kun is already there, I suppose?" "No, he is currently in the room where Lord Gremmery and Lord Phoenix will watch the game. Hayadu Issei-sama will fight after you." "After me?" "Yes, Lord Phoenix and Gremmery agreed in that. After all, Hayadu Issei-sama will fight alone without any backup." Everyone put a hard face hearing it, since they knew how Issei is strong, but nodded nothing less, and then the red magic circle brightened before everyone teleported. When everyone of Rias's group opened their eyes, what greeted their sight was their clubroom. Asia turned her head and noticed that it was exactly the occult research clubroom until Kaneko said, "Look, the sky." Everyone moved towards the windows and noticed the green-colored sky. It was anything but the usual blue sky of the human realm. A sudden announcement was made, and it was the voice of. "The battlefield is the exact replica of Kyo Academy, the school that Rias Gremmery-sama is attending at, in the human world. The base of Rias Gremmery-sama is the old school building, and the base of Razor Phoenix-sama is the school building, in the student council room precisely. I didn't expect that we will fight in our school, but it's certainly an advantage," Akino noticed. "It's not really an advantage since Razor was given probably a map of this place, but I guess that our advantage here is that we're very familiar with this place," Rias said. "So what's the plan, Butchu?" Kaneko asked her master. Razor's territory is all around the new school building, so we can expect that there will be several ambushes if we decided to attack him head-on. Our only solution then is to. I think that we must take the gym first, since we cannot pass through the sports ground," Akino finished. "Why cannot we pass through it to attain the new school building?" asked Asia. The enemy probably deduced it and positioned strong pieces there, so we cannot go carelessly using that road or we may lose all our chances of winning, Aquino answered. So who will you send at the gym? Aquino asked. Aquino, go set some traps in the forest. We cannot afford that his 8-use promotion. Kaneko, you will go to the gym first after the began of the battle. And Yudo, I will need you to go to the sport ground to play a little with the pieces he will post there in order to gain some time to Kaneko to be able to get rid of the pieces that will be certainly present in the gym. And me? Asia asked while raising her hand. You will stay beside me. Both of us will not move from our current base until we take possession of the sports ground at the gym. Aquino, after you finish setting the traps, come back to the clubroom. Then everyone waited for the battle to begin. After Aquino set the traps in the forest near their base, an announcement was made. Butchu, I'm off. Good luck, Kaneko-chan. Be careful. I'm going to Butchu. Try to not get yourself stuck. Your role is only to gain time, Yudo. I will send Aquino shortly to help you. Got it. Like the Kaneko and Yudo exited their base and rushed respectively towards the gym and the sports ground. Kaneko entered silently and quietly the gym. Gremory's servant, there's no point in hiding. You can show yourself. 2 female voices echoed inside the gym. Kaneko looked from the corner of the room and much at her surprise she saw a woman, brown-haired with the tips colored red, accompanied with gray eyes, and she wears a mask on the right side of her face. Her outfit consisted of a black jacket and matching jeans. Beside her was with shoulder-length black hair and blue-green eyes. Her hair has 2 Chinese-style buns on both sides of her head, while the front features bangs that form a slight V shape across her forehead. Her outfit consists of a navy blue kipao with gold accents, a white sash around her stomach, and black, low-heeled shoes. I'm Isabella. Razor-sama's the girl wearing a mask introduced herself, before the girl beside her followed. I'm Zuelan, Razor-sama's. Kaneko widened her eyes at their introduction, not expecting to face 2 rooks here. Looks like her master is lacking in experience compared to Razor. I'm Kaneko Taoju. Ria's Gremory's Kaneko introduced herself and made a battle stance. The 2 girls she's facing began to giggle, then Zuelan said, Looks like Razor-sama saw through your master's plans. Zuelan made a kung fu stance and fire covered both her feet and hands. Isabella made a battle stance too. Both rushed towards Kaneko. Zuelan began to attack Kaneko with both punches and kicks covered in fire. Her martial art was difficult to dodge, but Kaneko followed her movements and managed somehow to dodge until a sharp punch crashed in her cheek, sending her fly a couple of meters backwards. Kaneko didn't waste time in rushing towards Isabella. Zuelan tried to intervene, but Kaneko was too fast and landed a punch in Isabella's face, breaking the mask she was wearing. Zuelan appeared behind Kaneko and kicked her, making her crash in the wall. Zuelan covered her hands with fire and launched herself towards Kaneko, who dodged the blow just in time before she landed a quick and accurate kick in the girl's thigh. Crack. A small crack was heard. Zuelan showed a painful expression and clenches her teeth in pain. Just before Kaneko tried to land another blow to Zuelan, Isabella punched Kaneko from the back, sending her a couple of meters away. She wiped the little blood at edge of her mouth and talked to the transceiver she has in her ear. Butchu, send Aquino-senpai to destroy the gym now. You already finished your battle, Kaneko. Yes, Kaneko lied to her master. After all, she knew that she couldn't take those 2 alone. Just when she finished talking, Zuelan appeared in front of her, sending a sharp kick toward the petite girl jaw. Zuelan's feet was covered in fire, and it appeared that this fire can enhance the strength of the blow. Kaneko was sent in the air only to be intercepted by a strong punch in the gut given to her by Isabella. Kaneko crashed in the ground, making a small crater. She stood up slowly. Tough guff. It seems like you're not giving up. Even at the serious disadvantage you're facing, it's honorable, but not enough, Isabella said. Yes, do it, Aquino-senpai, Kaneko said. The girls who she's facing were a little confused. Were you talking to Kaneko Taoju? Zuelan asked. Kaneko kept silent and rushed towards the 2 girls before. A huge yellow lighting falls down onto the gym, wiping it from existence. Aquino, who destroyed the gym, widened her eyes at the sudden announcement. Kaneko-chan. Aquino, it seems that Kaneko sacrificed herself in order to take the 2 present inside the gym. Aquino's face was covered in anger hearing Ria's, because she was the one that retired her. Got it. Aquino flew towards the sports grounds. Looks like my traps weren't useless, Aquino thought. Aquino was stopped in her way to search Kiba by 3 pieces of razor. A busty woman with long wavy purple hair and matching eyes. The other are 2 very young girls with turquoise hair, which they keep tied to one side of their heads with a yellow ribbon and blue eyes. They both wearing gym uniforms and they are wielding chainsaws. Drill. The sound of the chainsaw starting can be heard. Aquino narrowed her eyebrows at the sight of the purple-haired busty women behind the 2 lolis. I assume that you're the rumored. Nice to meet you too. I want to fight you, but those 2 will do it first. They seem a little bored. This assembling time they both cheered in unison at the proposal of Yubaluna, Razor's famous by her title as 1-chan. Do you mind sparing with us first, Ni? Prepare to die, Ni-chan. The twin girls rushed towards Akino with their chainsaws and tried to cut Akino, but managed only to make several cuts in her school uniform. Akino began to cover herself in a pale gold aura and sparkles began to cover her hands before. She launched several thunder attacks towards the two girls that they swiftly dodged. One of the girls made a graze in Akino's cheek. Your blood has a magnificent red Nichan. Akino felt a sharp pain coming out from her cheek. It was certainly bleeding. Enough game you two. Finish or Yubaluna ordered the two girls. Okay Yubal Nichan. Both covered their chainsaws with fire and rushed towards Akino, who summoned two blue magic circles with the Gremory pattern in the center. Launching several spears of ice, the sisters dodged to the side only to be hit by the thunder that came out from Akino's hands. Let's begin the main event, Akino said in a stern voice, making Yubaluna giggle. Aura, you seem pretty upset, let's make it fast. Razor-sama's 3 retires. Yufufu, looks like Yuudo-kun is doing a good job there. I need to finish my battle quickly. Akino smiled a little when she heard the announcement. On the sports ground, I challenge you, Kiba Yuudo, as a fellow. Let's fight for both our masters. A young woman with light brown hair and green eyes wearing a full set of silver armor accompanied by a headband that goes across her head and forehead said that. Sai, can you stop it already? Carlamine, his attitude is really annoying, always talking about duels. Pride and all. A black-haired girl wearing a purple kimono lazily said that. Behind them were 2 other girls. One is a beautiful young girl with dark blue eyes and long blonde hair tied in twin tails with large drill-like curls and blue ribbons keeping them in place, and she wearing a cute pink dress with white frills. It's really boring. Carlamine, please end up the fight quickly, and if you may assist Cirrus, please do. Beside her was a tall young woman with long dark blue hair featuring 5 thin ponytails, and she has brown eyes. And she's wearing a white top with black accents and red shorts. She's wielding an enormous sword, answered. Yes, Revel-sama. Facing that bunch of beauties was Kiba Yuudo, wielding a black sword, certainly one he made up using his sacred gear, that is. Much at Kiba's surprise, Carlamine lunged herself at high speed towards him. Wielding her sword that she covered in fire, she began an intense duel with Kiba. Teach-in. Kiba summoned his so-called, a function of his sacred gear that can absorb holy energy or light, but it didn't even damage that sword covered with fire that Carlamine skillfully wielded. Looks like whatever it is, it's not working in my sword, Gremory. Don't think that it's all I can do. After Kiba said that with a grin, his black sword turned into an ice blue sword, but the shape looked different than the previous one. He didn't waste any time and rushed towards Razors, and when he slashed his sword and Carlamine used hers in order to counter his blow. Crack. A crack appeared in Carlamine's sword, making her widen her eyes in surprise. What was that? She asked, visibly curious about the result the ice blue-colored sword had against hers. My sacred gear has many functions. Not only I can create demonic swords endlessly, but I can manipulate their type. Interesting. Let's see if my fire can melt your ice. The fire covering Carlamine's sword intensified suddenly, and she headed towards Kiba, who made a defensive stance. Teach-in. Carlamine made a wind of fire using her sword, melting Kiba's blue sword. Kiba then summoned a second sword in his left hand. The whole wind created by Carlamine's sword was somehow sucked inside the sword that Kiba suddenly summoned. Carlamine grinned when she witnessed it. Looks like it's my fate of meeting always such swordsmen with special swords. What do you mean? You already fought against a demonic sword. No, it was a haul. Just when she was about to speak, the girl that stood beside her, wearing a purple kimono, appeared behind Kiba and summoned a magic circle, launching a fireball that he dodged but was pierced through his shoulder by Carlamine's sword. Hey, Nahi, don't interfere, it's my fight. Carlamine, we better finish this quickly. Razor-sama still has another battle with that human me, he said to the angry Carlamine, but Ravel talked from behind to the in front of her, acting like a shield. Cirrus, support Carlamine and finish that of Gremory. Yes, Ravel-sama. The so-called Cirrus picked up her enormous sword and said to Kiba, of Gremory, it's the time for you to taste my Zweihander. The girl rushed towards Kiba with her huge sword. The blonde-haired boy summoned another sword, a little bigger than the others, and engaged a battle with Cirrus. Teach-in. Carlamine then joined their battle and covered her sword with another layer of fire. Kiba summoned a second sword made of ice to counter her. Mihi, on the other hand, began to launch several magical attacks towards Kiba, as the magical ability of Mihi wasn't weak. Looks pant like pant. It will my last move, Kiba said that while panting heavily. Carlamine and Cirrus, who were still battling against him, raised an eyebrow. Kiba, on the other hand, put his 2 swords on the ground and howls highly. Sword birth. The ground around him glows and countless demonic swords appears from the earth. Carlamine and Cirrus, who were near Kiba, tried to dodge the swords. Carlamine quickly flew to the sky and Cirrus tried to destroy the demonic swords, but one of them pierced through her left arm. Damn you, Cirrus quietly cursed Riaz's knight. Mihi, who were a little far away, launched another fireball towards Kiba, who apparently didn't have any stamina or demonic power left. Bam! Riaz-sama's retires. The VIP room. Issei was seating in an elegant chair and watching the game since it was broadcasted, until he heard someone talking a little far away from him. Looks like my son will win this game, Lord BGMI, but your daughter is really strong for her age. That is a man with short blonde hair, a compagnied with a small blonde beard and has dark blue eyes and was dressed in a noble attire. It seems Lord Phoenix. After all, Rias is still young and her peerage is far from being complete. A man with long crimson hair that is tied as a loose ponytail. He has light blue eyes and like the other man, the so-called Lord Phoenix, he was too dressed in a noble attire. The game isn't finished yet. I'm sure Rias will not lose so easily. Another voice echoed through the room. It was Surzech's. I hope so, Surzech. Lord BGMI answered his son with a small grin on his face. Knock knock. Someone knocked at the turn. The three male devils turned their heads to the door and Grafia walked to open it. And who penetrated the room was a young man appearing on his 20s. He has a graceful face and wears noble clothes. He was giving an aura familiar to the one of Razor and Lord Phoenix. He has long blonde hair and dark blue eyes. Greetings, Surzech-sama, Grafia-sama, Lord BGMI and Adu-sama. The man greeted the persons present in the room. Expect Issei. Well, good to see you, Ruvel. Surzech shook hands with the so-called Ruvel. It's an honor, Surzech-sama, but I didn't know that you will come to watch this game today. Well, I came to see it as Rias's brother and I assume you came for the same reason. Yes. After all, even my foolish little brother will become one of my rivals in the rating games in a near future too, so watching him play now will become useful. It's surprising to hear it from a top 10 ranker in the rating games. Ruvel-kun. Lord BGMI laughed at the attitude of Ruvel. And I wanted to see the human who will fight too. It's not always that we got someone willing to fight Razor and his peerage alone. That is, Ruvel looked directly to Issei, who was watching the broadcasted game quietly on his chair, not giving any attention to the talk between those devils. Well, Hayatu Issei-kun will face Razor-kun after my Rias finishes her battle, so what do you think for the current game? Surzech said. It looks like my brother has the upper hand. Rias-san only has 2 pieces left. As they watched the rating game, they saw Razor flying towards the old school building. The camera showed the frustrated face of Rias and the worried one of Asia just behind her. Both moved towards the roof. Issei, on the other hand, is sighing heavily. Razor was confronting Rias in the roof of the old school building. Behind Rias was Asia, who's constantly emitting green light from her hands, healing the several injuries Rias suffered thanks to the powerful fire of Razor. Looks like it's the end, Rias. You'll not be able to withstand my fire for eternity, you know, Razor jokingly said. On the other hand, Rias was pretty in a bad condition. Her school uniform is tattered, several injuries and burns could be noticed in her body. Even with Asia's healing, Rias didn't have a limitless stamina. Razor launched another fireball to Rias, who made a defensive barrier in order to shield herself and Asia from the attack. Surrender, Rias. It's your loss, Razor said, and continued to launch his fire towards Rias. The crimson-haired princess summoned several blocks of crimson energy and launched them towards Razor, cutting his left arm in the process. Suddenly fire covered the wound and his arm reappeared like it was never injured. Rias, I'm immortal, you know. It's not with this level of power that you'll able to harm me. Razor teasing tone made Rias's eyes twitch in anger, but she knew that what he said was the total truth. Rias-sama retires. It's definitely the end now. Razor's maniacal laugh echoed through the battlefield. With Rias's strongest piece out of the game, he knew that she couldn't do anything. No, it's settled. I will not surrender, Razor. This game will not end until he is out. Rias tried to convince herself that there was still a chance of winning. No matter what, she doesn't seem like she will abandon easily. Rias, I don't want to drag an injured woman as a fiancé next week, so as you treat your servants like your own family, right? Let's see if it's true. Razor suddenly disappeared from Rias's sight and reappeared behind Asia. He quickly held her from the throat and lifted her from the ground. Hey Rias, surrender or I will kill her, okay? Rias quickly turned to stop Razor, but it was too late. The phoenix covered his left fist with his fire and punched Asia right in the stomach. The former nun opened her eyes widely when she felt the piercing pain, and cough. She began to cough a considerable amount of blood, turning the color of her nun attire crimson. But Asia couldn't even utter a word, and continued to emit a painful cry, much at Rias's distress. Hey Rias, you'll not surrender or what? Looks like she will not withstand a lot of punches. That small girl is weak, you know. He covered another of his fists with fire and crashed it in Asia's gut, making her cough more blood. Reyes. Aye. The VIP room. The devils were watching the game quietly, Ruvel said. Looks like my brother don't want to injure Rias-san. I'm sure that he isn't fool enough to injure the woman he will marry next week, Lord Phoenix said with a smirk. On the other hand, Surzech and Lord BGMI watched the game with confused faces. After all, for the member of their peerages are treated like family, so seeing that is actually troubling for them. A little away from the group of devils, Issei was looking the game quietly. He was trembling a little and said, Lucifer-sama, can you stop the game? I'm worried about. Hayatu Issei-kun, don't worry, Rias's will forcefully retire soon. Surzech's voice couldn't ease Issei, who was still watching the game. But she will die. That prick will definitely kill her. Ruvel narrowed his eyes and said at the angry boy, I will not let you insult my brother, human. Shut up, Phoenix. I'm not speaking to you. Issei narrowed his eyes when he shouted back. Watch your mouth or you will get yourself killed, Ruvel sternly said, letting a little of his strong aura to flow out. Enough you two just when Surzech tried to calm down the two, an announcement was made. Looks like it's our win, Lord Gremory, Lord Phoenix proudly said. Yes, it sure is, Lord Phoenix. And now, it's the fight against human, Lord Phoenix said while looking at Issei, who prepared himself for teleporting inside the replica of Kyo Academy and disappeared in a blinding light. Then someone knocked at the door, then opened it. It's a nurse. Excuse me, but I came to say that all the pieces of Razor-sama's who retired are able to fight the next match thanks to the given by the... Lord Phoenix opened his eyes widely and asked Ruvel. Ruvel, you're the one who gave them the, I suppose. Yes, Aru-sama, I wanted to see how the human who's prepared to fight against my brother's peerage alone will manage to do it against a full set. He shall know where he belongs, this lowlife that is. Not that I'm interested in him, he will surely lose, but I'll watch this game. After all, I don't have anything planned for today, Lord Phoenix concluded. Kyo Academy Replica, Occult Research Clubroom. Issei opened his eyes after being teleported here and was greeted by the sight of the usual clubroom. Issei widened his eyes slightly and said to himself, looks like they used their famous ha. He sat on the couch and waited for the 5 minutes to pass, then Graphia's voice was heard. Head on, partner. D-Drag's voice echoed through Issei's mind. I will make that bastard pay. Issei nodded and declared that strongly. Issei covered himself in tauki and rushed towards the gym first. He broke the door using his fist and headed inside, but found that 4 pieces were already waiting for him. Human, it's your end. A brown-haired woman with green eyes wearing a maid outfit said that. Behind here was another maid with light brown hair and gray eyes. You will not pass. Naya. 2 cat girls said that in the same time. Both are wearing gloves. The 4 pieces launched themselves towards Issei, who sighed and said, I don't want to waste time, so let's end it quickly. He rushed towards the group. The 2 cat-looking girls tried to punch Issei but weren't able to hit him. In the other hand, Issei crashed his 2 fists on their guts. The 2 other girls, wearing maids' outfits, widened their eyes at how easily their fellow comrades lost against their enemy. Issei didn't waste time to rush towards the stunned girls. Holding them for their respective heads, he crashed down their bodies on the ground. Now, let's head to the sports ground. I sense several presences there. Saying that, the 9-tailed fox rushed towards the baseball court. He found their 4 other pieces waiting patiently. Carlomene, Cirrus, Isabella and Zulan were already there, but he noticed that they were more or less healed, since Zulan was panting a little. Looks like even with you aren't able to heal completely, huh? The 2 knights, Cirrus and Carlomene, rushed towards Issei's head on much at his surprise. Both wielded their swords and tried to slash Issei with it. Both crashed their swords on Issei, creating a large crater beneath him. Crack, crack. 2 cracks were heard. When the dust vanished, Cirrus widened her eyes when she saw that her Zweihander was destroyed. Same goes to Carlomene. Cirrus could only say one thing. W, who are you? Issei smirked and breathed fire from his mouth, making both of them glow in light blue color. Razor-sama's 4 promoted too. Zulan and Isabella smirked at the later announcement. Zulan rushed towards Issei and covered her hands with fire. Issei did the same with his own hands and dismissed his tauki for a moment, before their punches crashed into each other. Looks like your fire is weak, Issei said that, while checking if he's hurt from the punch given to him by Zulan, but found that there wasn't even a bruise. He turned his head towards Isabella, who flinched a little, but 4 girls arrived just in time to support her. Drill. Isabella, Nietzsche, Niall, and Nell arrived, and the sound of their chainsaws starting echoed through the court. Issei sighed at the sight of the 2, and the one behind them was Mir, the one he defeated without even trying back in the clubroom 10 days ago, and another with dark gray hair, wearing an Eastern dancer outfit that relieved a lot of her skin. Issei sighed heavily and dismissed the fire on his hands, and covered himself in tauki. The 4 pawns rushed towards Issei in the same time, being supported by Isabella of course. Issei smirked a little and waited patiently for the impact. Crack, crack. Nell and Niall wore a mortified expression when they saw that their chainsaws broke after it made contact with Issei. Punch. Issei punched both of them in the face. Issei turned his attention towards the remaining pawn and Isabella. Let's finish this. He kicked the pawn in the back and crashed his flicker jab in Isabella's face. So let's move to the new school building. Issei ran towards his next destination. Suddenly, an explosive sound could be heard. Looking closely, it looked like Issei received an unexpected attack. Lowly human, your path. Just when she was going to finish her sentence, the smoke cleared from the explosion, and what greeted the sight of Yubaluna was Issei wearing his red tauki without any bruise. Issei narrowed his eyes and covered his 2 hands with fire before he launched an immense fireball towards Razors. She dodged hardly, but Issei reappeared behind her and crashed his right fist covered in fire directly on her face. Done. A loud sound was made, and Yubaluna crashed in the school's ground before she disappeared in a blue light. Issei rushed towards the new school building. Just before penetrating inside the building, a sphere of demonic power was launched at him. He looked to the side and saw a girl wearing a purple kimono. It's 1 Razors, behind her another girl, the blonde-haired girl with dark blue eyes who wears a cute pink dress. Issei aimed his hand towards the one wearing a kimono and sent her a small red sphere made entirely of tauki. Mihi smirked at the size of his attack and summoned a fireball. When the 2 attacks collided, Mihi didn't have time to dodge, and Issei's attack both destroyed the fireball and injured severely the girl. You're his sister, Issei said to the shaking Ravel. Why yes, she responded in a trembling voice. If you want to attack me, feel free to do so. Issei smirked while saying that. Ravel began to shake a little. Issei dismissed his tauki and a light blue-colored aura covered the tip of his index finger. Issei moved towards Ravel quickly before she even reacts. Issei planted his index finger in her forehead. Time to get rid of this guy. Issei headed towards the student council room, just when he was going to open the door. Doon. A massive fireball was sent at him. Issei quickly dodged by escaping through one of the windows. Looks like you dodged my blast. Razor's voice came from above. Issei looked to the sky only to be greeted by the sight of Razor Phoenix proudly levitating in the air thanks to his phoenix wings, who are made only of yellow-orange fire. Yeah, it seems. Well, you'll not be able to escape from me though, Issei said with a smirk on his face, making Razor lose his patience. It's surprising that you got rid of my peerage so easily, but my fight with Rhea certainly exhausted them. The Phoenix tried to convince himself, much at Issei's pleasure. He knew that once a Phoenix began to hesitate, his immortality began to shatter a little. The next is you. Prepare yourself, Yakitori. Issei covered his body with tauki, enough to make the earth beneath him crack. Razor, on the other hand, narrowed his eyes when he sensed the pressure given by Issei's aura. You aren't human. Looks like we had someone gifted by amazing observation skills. Bravo, Razor. Razor's eyes began to twitch severely. His body was covered in an intense amount of yellow-orange fire. He was shaking from anger. I will definitely kill you here and now. Prepare yourself, LOWLIFE. Both of them quickly rushed towards one another. They were so quick that only the color of their aura was visible. Thud thud doon through wood. An intense fist fight began between the two. Issei's strength was overwhelming and was in a different league to the one of Razor, but the Phoenix regeneration ability was outstanding in its own way. Every time Razor got himself injured severely by Issei's punches, he recovers immediately. The devils present in the room were just watching the broadcasted one-sided fight with an awe expression. Even Surzech widened his eyes at the sight of Issei beating easily Razor's peerage without even using his true power, and by that, he probably thought about the boosted gear. He couldn't understand how can he be that strong without even boosting his own power, and what further intrigued the Lucifer is what if Hayato Issei boosted his current powers. And worse, what if he even achieved his, Surzech's Lucifer? The so-called is worried not for him, but for the devils in general. The question that bothers him the most is, how could the Yokai faction been able to produce a monster like him? He couldn't even measure his true strength. That boy is definitively dangerous. When Grafia reported what Rias told her about, he thought certainly that at the best, he's a Kitsune equivalent to a mid-class devil with a longinus that he could more or less use. Ish even a human. Ruval words echoed through the silent room. No, he is. Looks like you are not that bad, Razor jokingly said, while panting a little. I will make you pay for what you did, Issei declared strongly before he launched himself to the Phoenix, assaulting him with his strong punches. What? You heard Asia. Issei howl was accompanied by the strong raising of his tauki, creating a large crater beneath him. Razor flinched a little at this sight but giggled a little. Ah, you mean the nun? Well, she's weak. Those good-for-nothing servants like her don't even deserve to live. Shut up, Razor. They'll make your situation worse. Issei warned him, but the proud Phoenix just laughed maniacally and said, or what? I admit that you're strong, but on the other hand I'm immortal. Do you get it? Enough talk, Razor. You seem pretty upset. You're attached to that blonde-haired weakling of Rias. Hey look, when I will marry Rias, I will be sure to make that girl feel really good. Well, her bust is a little small, but I'm sure she's going to grow well, and when the time comes I will definitively fuck. Just when Razor was about to finish her sentence, Issei's punch covered in tauki crashed on his face, sending him back to old school building. Traversing all the sports ground, he crashed pathetically on the wall of the old school building. Tough cough. Razor stood up while coughing a little. He looked towards Issei and noticed that he was already here. Woo-woo-wash. 9 foxtails and fox ears appeared from Issei's body. His pupils became slit, making his gaze more sharper. In the other hand, Razor narrowed his eyebrows. You're a yokai, huh? Issei didn't respond but rushed towards Razor, and without any second thought he crashed his left fist on his jaw, making him flew to the sky. The Phoenix repositioned his composure and stabilized himself in the sky, but much at his surprise Issei reappeared behind him and sent a strong punch who landed on his back, making him crash on the ground. BAMMM. Razor couldn't do anything to stop the assault of Issei, who continued to throw punches at the Phoenix, one after another, each punch stronger than the other. The battlefield was quiet and only Razor's screams were heard. But what was odd is, Razor even on his state didn't retire. Surzech-sama, stop this game. Razor will not retire, there's certainly something off. It seems that it's true, Surzech-sama. You can stop this game and give the victory to Hayato Issei. I approve it, Lord Phoenix continued after Ruval. Surzech-sama, Razor-sama can't be retired because he still can fight. His body can permit it thanks to his immortality, but in the same time he can't because of the overwhelming strength of Hayato Issei-sama. I agree that we have to send someone to stop them since Razor-sama is determined to not surrender, Grafia concluded. Surzech put his hand under his chin and sighed heavily before he ordered his. Grafia, summon the emergency magical circle, and Ruval, please go and help your brother. Why don't we just announce Hayato-kun's victory? Asked his father. It's clear that he won't stop until he definitely got rid of Razor, after all. Lord Gremory sighed and turned his attention towards the game, or the one-sided fight is the more appropriate term to describe it. Do you have enough, Razor, or should I kill you? I will. A lowlife. He was interrupted when a white magic circle appeared just beside him. The silhouette who appeared from the magic circle punched suddenly Issei, sending him backwards. What appeared from the magic circle was Ruvel Phoenix, Razor's older brother and the next heir of the house. Razor, are you all right? Ruvel quickly sat on one knee and lifted the upper part of Razor's body. Well, more or less. Rest a little, I will face him. Issei looked towards Ruvel suspiciously before he said sternly while pointing at Razor. Phoenix, this is my fight. If you dare to attack me, I will not hold back. Ruvel didn't respond but summoned his phoenix wings, but much at Issei's surprise, his fire wasn't yellow-orange just like the one of Razor, but it was clearly orange. I will show you the true wrath of a phoenix. The young man let out his fire, cover all his body. The heat given by his fire was in a totally different league compared to the one of Razor's fire. Issei narrowed his eyes and put his hands on the ground, and he said, no more holding back. Then Issei's Tauki began to glow more than ever. Then it gave off an extreme strong pressure, blowing away all the surroundings, and the Tauki who covered Issei's body raised dramatically. Ruvel headed towards Issei while his body was covered in an orange flames. Each punch he gave to Issei left a black mark on his skin, even with wearing such an amount of Tauki. Ruvel's fire pierced through Issei's defense, but the Kitsune's punches were definitely more destructive. Each one sent Ruvel flying. Their fight lasted several minutes. Ruvel was panting heavily and Issei was a little burned, but it was nothing really severe. It's time to end this child play. Boosted gear. Boost. Seeing the red gauntlet in Issei's left arm, Ruvel widened his eyes and his jaw dropped to the floor. SSS Sekirute. Issei dismissed all his Tauki and instantly, his hands began to glow white, and put them on the ground, before he recited what seems to be a chant. Darkness of ice, water spirits, reshape this guilty reality into something of an unprecedented beauty. A gigantic azure magic circle appeared on the ground, covering all Kuo's Academy replica. Snow began to fall from the dimension's green sky, making the temperature to drop drastically. The two phoenix began to shiver a little, even Ruvel, who was covered by his orange flames. Freeze those impure souls to a silence equal to death. Boost, boost, purify them with ferocious mercy. Boost, boost, boost. The ground of Kuo Academy began to crack, and water began to flow from the cracks. Razor and Ruvel widened their eyes and looked towards Issei. You shall taste the utmost form of my anger for eternity. As Issei recited the last verse of his chant, all the dimension turned into a world of ice, trapping the two phoenixes inside 2 blocks of thick ice. The green sky turned dark blue and everything was turned into ice, trees and building. The ground, everything was covered by several ice sheets. Issei covered himself in Tauki and prepared to finish the two phoenixes, but their core suddenly glowed light blue before disappearing. Issei looked behind him and saw Surzech standing and staring dangerously at him. Hiya to Issei-kun, you may stop this nonsense. The game ended and you're the winner. Partner, we will not be able to face him in our current condition, so do as he says for now. Issei looked towards Surzech before he calmed down his Tauki. Why yeah, Surzech nodded. A red magic circle appeared near them before they teleported outside the raiding game frozen field. But before they teleported, Surzech murmured something just enough so that can Issei hear it. I will have a talk with you afterwards about the magic circle you summoned and about both divine and draconian runes written on it. Surzech probably didn't notice it, but Issei felt the pure malice emanating from the Satan's voice. Okay, sadly the chapter is over. And if you enjoyed, just leave a like and subscribe with post notification, so when the next chapter is ready, you will be notified. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.